The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Russ Vernon.
G-Man.
Samir Sawni, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeau.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com.
Hello, I'm Russ Vernon.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeau.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher,
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former Chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon. My name is Christian Carambeau.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former Chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samir Sawni, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening
to Pitch Talk.
For this week, we make your way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJA, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions. Because the pitch is where we eat, the pitch is where we sleep, and of course, the pitch is where we talk. After another very interesting week, it must be said, on and especially off the field in football, in the football world, or soccer to some. Well, it has been very interesting. We got a lot to hit tonight. But before the hitting begins, it is one of them ones. We must say www.pitch-talk.com is the official website to find out about everything PT on our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. Also, facebook.com/pitch-talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com is where all the blogs are, including blogs by yours truly, Straight Shooting LJA, Jazzy Fizzle, the G-Man's blogs as well, including his top 10 funny names. Also Dave Meir, aka at Mearsey, and his Word of a Ref blog as well. Also, youtube.com/pitch talk is where you can find all of our videos, our pitch talk rants of the week, the push points. It's one of them. You can find our Cup Finals series video as well. FA Cup Finals, Capital One Cup Finals, Women's FA Cup Final last year as well. It is one of them ones. Also, you can find the Pitch Talk Meet series there as well, along with Pitch Talk on the road too. So all of our video series on youtube.com/pitch talk. Also, you can catch us during the live shows on 07535804466. That's 07535804466. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you're texting, please leave your name at the end of the text so we can give you a shout out. Also, You can hit us up on Google Plus. Add us to your circles. Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus. We are at Pitch Talk on Instagram and on Twitter at Pitch Talk. Twitter.com/Pitch Talk. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. And Pitch Talk 1 on Skype. You can join the live Skype call during the duration of the show. Big ups to Ryan Sonley, Brad Hicks, Russ Vernon, and Mike Harniman, who are on with us at the moment. You know what? I'm going to ask first and foremost, Jezzy Fizzle, how's your week and weekend been?
Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear.
Check, 1, 2, check. It's a brand new mic, so I have to test it out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of... No, you heard that already.
Of the world.
No, I'm good. I'm glad everyone can hear me crystal clear. Wanted to make sure. Weekend's been fantastic. I'm sorry. Did Ryan suddenly try and... Okay, you know what we're gonna do? You know, just give me 1 sec. Right, we're gonna fix you real good. Yeah, I've got one. Boy,
I was gonna say Ryan Sonley definitely needs a bit of.
If I want any crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
Just for that.
No, it's all right. I got him. It's all right.
Use rights and privileges revoked.
This is all I'm saying. Homie, don't play that.
I don't play that with the Chappelle voice. I don't play that.
No, this is not Donkey Kong Country or Diddy Kong Country or whatever. Okay, we don't play that.
We don't play that. We play this. We don't play that. We play this.
Stars! -5 stars!
It's one levels. Well, we could go New Jack in terms of I don't play that, but still, it's one of those. Well, Jesse, me, you, and G-Man, we don't really play that in terms of these kind of stories, though.
This girl sent me this picture of a little baby, and it was in a town that I had never been in before. And she sent me this picture. She said, "New Jack, this is your baby." And the baby looked like a pigeon with a spiked hairdo. I swear to God, I told her that ain't my baby.
It's one of those. That's tremendous. That is tremendous. I gotta say, the day I don't find that funny is the day when I'm dead inside.
Well, all I want to say is I have to say shout out to the sports bar, right? And of course, Mr. Jaymie Bailey, because he'll know what I'm talking about. It was. Yeah, I'm not even gonna give it.
No, you got to. No. Let's go.
To Jiggy. Yeah, baby. No.
I was like, no. You can't allude to it and then not bring it up.
Yeah, I can. So my weekend was great. Shout out to my ex-wife, love you, baby. Shout out to my next wife, love you, baby. Shout out to all my family, love you all. Shout out to my friends, love you all. Shout out to the frenemies too, man, because hey, without you guys, I wouldn't even be here. And the big extra special thank you to absolutely everybody locked in, locked on, being a part of the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. Without you, there is no Pitch Talk. It is we, the people, for the people, in the sense of this is your Monday Night Footballing Fix. I'm here for you, straight up. So thank you all very, very much. Extra special shout outs going out to Miss Jennifer Evans, aka the owner of JE Promotions Entertainment. A Jezzy Fizzle Sizzle tour is coming to a town near you very soon. If you're in Dublin, come say hi. All right. If you're down in the Cotswolds, come say hi. I'm on tour. All right.
Cotswolds, I love it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm going down to the Cotswolds. So, you know, if you're over there, say hi. That's what I'm saying. All right. Because your boy's going to holler. That's what I'm saying. And extra special shout out to Sherry, locked in, locked on, all the way over in St. Petersburg, Florida. Thank you so much for being locked in, locked on. Shout out to our good friends Daniela and Gurov, all the way up in Canada. I hope you guys are saving some maple syrup because I'm coming to get it. Mr. Maple Syrup. And yeah, to everybody all over the shop, thank you so much. A special shout out to Mr. Agnes as well. I know he's locked in, locked on. I'm pretty sure he's going to have something to say about the weekend's results, but we will get onto that in results and analysis. And you know what as well? A special shout out to the G-Man. I salute you, sir. I salute you.
Oh, definitely. And I'll agree with that as well. I will agree with that as well. He actually, funnily enough, the G-Man might end up having a championship winners medal soon, but we'll get onto that in the grassroots segment. And the funny thing is, I might actually be able to help him get it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But yeah, it's one of them. Was more on that in the grassroots segment. Big ups to the Ibis Eagles. Big ups also to Thin White Line magazine. Remember to get your issue 1, your copy of issue 1. Remember, all proceeds are going to a very, very good cause, so it's very much worthwhile getting it. Also big ups to Girls on the Ball as well. Girls on the Ball. Yeah, there's been the Women's FA Cup semi-finals. We're going to get into that a little later as well. You know what? It is one of them ones after a really good week and weekend. It is about that time for us to switch segmentes and go into the first segment of the show, which is results and analysis. It's results and analyses. It's results and analyses. I love that. That's kind of an interesting suggestion from Mr. Harniman in the Skype chat. Do the whole show backwards. Just throw everything off. It's just like shoot your words first and then come back and try and communicate. Anyway, yeah. Jazzy Fizzle, do you reckon we should do the show backwards?
Yeah, once or twice, yeah.
Once or twice? You sure you're talking about the show?
No, me digger. Shout out to Irene Bonilla, by the way. Come on, stop.
Dude's going down. He's going down. Well, let's go to Tuesday, 12th April 2016. UEFA Champions League quarter-finals. Manchester City won, Paris Saint-Germain 0. Aggregate 3-2 to Manchester City. It's one of them was Kevin De Bruyne with a very good finish with the only goal of the game on 76 minutes, sending Man City through in the Battle of the Wallets. Real Madrid 3, Wolfsburg 0. Capitulation, it must be said, because Wolfsburg were 2-0 up after the first leg, but Cristiano Ronaldo on 15, 17, and 77 minutes. Setting a couple of records, actually, because it's one of them ones where Real Madrid are making their 6th consecutive Champions League final. Ronaldo's hat-trick was his 3rd of this year's tournament, which is actually a record, and it's his 5th in the competition ever, which is joint with Lionel Messi. And Ronaldo now has 16 goals in Europe this season, one shy of the record in a single season, which he also holds in the Champions League. So it is one of them. Also, Cristiano Ronaldo setting a few records there in the Champions League quarter-finals. So all good, man. And this one of them was Manchester City through to their first Champions League semi-final as well. So some records in history being made, must be said. But here's one of them ones in terms of history being made. Leeds actually won. Birmingham won, Leeds 2 in the Sky Bet Championship. Dallas with the opening goal of the game on 11 minutes, scored again on 50. Clayton Donaldson getting a consolation back on 53, and Moet was sent off on 94 minutes. Middlesbrough 2, Reading 1. Nsue Lopez scoring on 10 minutes to open the scoring. Cox equalised for Reading on 54, and Adam Forshaw equalised on 94 minutes. Sky Bet League 1, Barnsley 2, Oldham 1. Sam Winnell in first half stoppage time opening the scoring. He was later booked on 55 minutes. Main equalised for Oldham on 68 minutes, and Winnell scored a penalty on 83 minutes. Gillingham 1, Walsall 2. Laukovic opened the scoring for Walsall on 68. Hiwula Mayifulia scored on 77 minutes to give Walsall a 2-0 lead, but Norris scored on 95 minutes. Sky Bet League 2, Luton 1, Dagenham Redbridge 0. Ruddock with the only goal of the game on 37 minutes. We've got to throw them T's up for Big T on this one. Notts County 1, Hartlepool 0. John Stead with the only goal of the game on 55 minutes. Is one of them ones, but in the UEFA Women's European Championship qualifying Group 7, Bosnia-Herzegovina were defeated by the England Lionesses by a goal to 0. Just wanted to throw a mention that way as well. Let's go on to. Where are we going to go? We're going to go Wednesday, 13th of April, 2016. Atletico Madrid 2, Barcelona 0 in the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals. Griezmann opened the scoring on 36 minutes and scored a penalty on 88 minutes. And you know what? Yeah, you want to talk pressure penalties. Well, it's one of them was Griezmann did the business, but his first goal, the header. Rose very, very well. Did very, very well with that one. But Barcelona shocked, surprised, and flabbergasted, and also eliminated from this year's Champions League. So the holders will not be repeating. And that record that's been going since 1993 carries on. It carries on. Where it's one of them ones where hell, no one's repeated in back-to-back years in the Champions League. The hoodoo continues. Benfica 2, Bayern Munich 2 was the other quarterfinal. Jimenez Rodriguez scoring on 27 minutes. Arturo Vidal scoring a good goal on 38 minutes. Müller with basically a tap-in on 52 minutes, but Sousa Conceição scored on 76 minutes at the Stadium of Light, but it wasn't enough for Benfica as Bayern squeezed through. Talking of a squeeze, Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0. It was one of them was Ross Barkley smacking the bar with a great opportunity. And Dwight Gale, his overhead kick squeezing just the wrong side of the post as well. McCarthy was booked on 16, sent off on 52 minutes. Emirates FA Cup quarterfinals. Jesse, you want to take this one?
No, I'll let you have it. I'm good like that.
He's smooth like that. West Ham United 1, Manchester United 2. Rashford on 54 minutes. Fellaini on 67, and James Tompkins got a consolation back on 79 minutes. Not the greatest defending for Fellaini's goal, but Rashford, it seems like everyone got it backed off of him, but good finish nonetheless. Shifting on to Thursday, 14th of April 2016. I'm going to take these in reverse order in the Europa League quarterfinals. Sparta Prague 2, Villarreal 4, aggregate 6-3 in Villarreal's favour. Bakambu opened the scoring on 5 minutes. Castello Azuanga scored on 43 minutes. Lafata scored an own goal in first half stoppage time. Bakambu scored again on 49 minutes. Dokal scored on 65 minutes, and Krejci scored for Sparta on 71 minutes, but it wasn't enough, anywhere near enough for Sparta Prague. Shakhtar Donetsk 4, Sporting Braga 0, aggregate 6-1 to Shakhtar. Cerna scored a penalty on 25 minutes. Araujo Ferreira scored an own goal on 42 minutes. Kovalenko scored on 50 minutes, and Ferreira scored another own goal on 73 minutes. How unlucky can you get? One of them are scoring 2 own goals in the same game. Sevilla 1, Athletic Bilbao 2, aggregate 3-3. Now, the interesting thing about this, is that it ended up going to penalties. Sevilla ended up winning 5-4 on penalties. But how it went, 57 minutes, Aduriz opened the scoring. Gamiero equalized on 59. Raul Garcia scored on 80 minutes. So that left it literally dead heat or level. And then Sevilla went on and won penalties. But saved the best till last. And I don't think anyone's going to disagree on that one this week, because Liverpool 4, Borussia Dortmund 3 with the live bird upon my chest. It was the result that I love best. I can honestly say that I've got people who approve that I never lost the faith in that one. But Mkhitaryan opened the scoring on 5 minutes. Let me just set the scene for you, because it was 5-4 to Liverpool in aggregate. Mkhitaryan opened the scoring on 5 minutes. Aubameyang lashed in a second to the top right-hand corner in front of the Kop on 9 minutes. It was a dominant opening 10/15 minutes for Dortmund. But then apart from that, it was one of them ones where there was a lot of Liverpool pressure, a lot of Liverpool chances, but Dortmund always looked dangerous on the counter, which is proven by their third goal. Coming back to that in a second. Divock Origi off of Emre Can's pass, lovely defense splitting pass. It was one of them ones. Slid through, 48 minutes, brilliant low finish from Divock Origi in front of the Kop. Took 3 minutes. There was a good little response there, but the goal scoring was nowhere near over. Marco Reus on 57 minutes scored, and you know what? Sloppy goal to concede, it really was. But 9 minutes later, Felipe Coutinho, after a nice little interchange of play between a couple of the boys, lashed in a low drive into the bottom right-hand corner, sending the Kop crazy. But speaking of sending the Kop crazy, Sakho's little stooping header on 77 minutes, boom. All I can say, it was one of them ones sent the Kop into raptures, but Liverpool still needed another goal or else they were eliminated. And guess who on 91 minutes comes up with a towering header? It was one of them ones where Lovren, with a towering header, his first goal in a while himself, just popping up Johnny on the spot. Superb header. Milner's cross. It was one of them was the little touch to Milner was quality, but his first touch looked heavy, and it's like, oh, it's too heavy. And then lofted in, Lovren towered above the Dortmund defense, and it went mental. And hell, actually, funnily enough, the next day I had a Chelsea fan have the nerve to come up to me and say, "Oh yeah, congratulations on the result. That was a one-off." To which I replied, Cardiff 2006, Istanbul 2005, and just for crap and giggles, CD Alaves 2001. Do I need to say more? And he's like, oh, but we're not talking about your history. So why are you talking about that? Just because your team ain't got none in that regard, don't try and swipe at mine. It's one of them ones. All I can say, I'm going to quote someone here: don't send for me unless I send for you. Because if I want to crap out of you, I'd pick it out of your teeth. And I will leave it as that. But in terms of Liverpool Dortmund game, I caught up on the whole match today, and it was like, what a performance. What a game. And like I said on PT Live a few weeks ago when that draw was made, there ain't no reason why we couldn't beat him. A lot of people were expecting us to get a battering, an absolute pasting with Aubameyang, Royce, and Mkhitaryan being in such good form. But what happened? It's one of them ones. We snapped into them like Randy Savage used to snap into a Slim Jim. So it's one of them. It's one of them ones, man. It's one of them ones where it was just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy game. Really was. Really was. We're shifting on for the moment. Just Sky Bet Championship. Brighton 5, Fulham 0. Talking of a crazy game. Hemed opened the scoring on 29 minutes. Scored again from the penalty spot. Scored again on 34 minutes. Bruno scored on 54. Hemed completed his hat-trick on 79. Kanaka scored the final goal of the game on 87 minutes. And Hull City 2, Wolves 1. Diomande on 5 minutes and Edwards equalising on 19 minutes, but an Ikeme own goal on 93 minutes gave Hull City the points. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to Kieran on that. And it is one of them ones where it's like, Kieran, sorry, dude. The team went down. But yeah, Jazzy Fizzle, do you want to jump in on these results that have been mentioned so far?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think, the Liverpool tie was the best one. It goes without saying. It was an amazing game. It was an amazing game. And, it was like I was saying a couple of weeks ago, I think it's actually a couple of months now, when I was talking about the Europa League at this point in the season and how every game is, really too close to call. And it's a really interesting competition because all the teams are evenly matched. And then you have a really big clash like that. And, it kind of harkened back to Istanbul, in terms of atmosphere, in terms of bounce back ability, in terms of drama. I mean, even if you were to try and script that as a writer, I don't think you could drama.
Yeah, even
if you were trying to
even Vince Russo wouldn't get anywhere near that. Now,
so
we saw some of the stuff he
as I say, overall amazing game, and you have to give both sets of players a lot of credit. I mean, when the first 2 goals went in, I know there was a lot of sniggering going on towards Liverpool fans and Liverpool in general. A lot of people had written the game off. They'd actually say, right, we'll turn it off now because it's not even a contest anymore. And how wrong were they? Very wrong. So, at the same time, it needs to be said, congratulations to Liverpool. As much as it pains me to say that, but absolutely fantastic achievement. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this progresses for them. Will they go all the way? Will they win it? Personally, I hope not. But you have to say, to overcome Dortmund and the deficit that they had, absolutely fantastic result.
Well, of course. You know what? Yeah, you being a United supporter, of course, you don't want us to win the Europa League, and you don't want City to win the Champions League either, because what that will do. There's been a lot of mention in terms of permutations. If Man City win the Champions League and Liverpool win the Europa League, no matter where Man United plays, which more likely than not is 4th, I think is the highest they can get, you will get no Champions League place. You get dropped into the Europa League. So, as if both clubs didn't need any, as if either club needed more incentive, they've got it, because it's one of them ones. If both sides win the tournaments. But speaking of actually winning the tournaments, by the way, I'm kind of glad we didn't get Sevilla in the draw, because, like I said last week, not many people have actually talked about Sevilla in terms of favorites for the Europa League, because I'm quite surprised about that, because they've won it twice in its current incarnation, so they've got pedigree in it. Very, very surprised. But
and they've got previous. So what I don't understand is how a lot of people are actually sleeping on Sevilla right now. For all intents and purposes, the Europa League is Sevilla's tournament. Right? So please, for everybody that is sleeping on Sevilla, don't do it. Don't do it, because here's the big thing. I say this to you: 1, they've got previous. 2, they're in a decent run of form in the competition. And number 3, right? Something really, really powerful that a lot of people don't actually know about. So I will tell you. It's 2 words. Antonio Puerta.
You're going somewhere else for that.
Right?
oh yeah, but like Liverpool have already won the tournament. It's like no. It's like I'm Destiny's Child. No. It's like,
And then you say, yeah. When?
Far from it. It's like Villarreal are no pushovers. So let's get that straight. And Sevilla, and I said Sevilla have pedigree. I ain't talking about Hunter Hearst Helmsley either. So it's gonna be very interesting. I mean, just whilst we're on it, actually, the semi-final draws. The semi-final draws, the Champions League semi-final draw is Manchester City versus Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid versus Bayern Munich. So could have a Madrid derby in the final again. The 26th and 27th of April are the first legs, with the 3rd and 4th of May down for the second legs. Now in the Europa League, it's the semi-final draw is Shakhtar Donetsk versus Sevilla and Villarreal versus Liverpool. 28th of April for the first legs and the 5th of May for the second legs. Interestingly enough, if Liverpool get through, they will be the home team in the final. I don't think that makes a great deal of difference, but hey, it's one of them ones. But yeah, the Champions League final is on May 28th, 2016, and May 18th is the Europa League final. So I just thought we'd mention that. I mean, Jesse, any thoughts on that? And also, Man United getting through in the FA Cup kind of got brushed aside.
Yeah, and I don't know why that was. So I'm going to brush it back in again, and I will say this. This team, and I've said it all season, consistently inconsistent, right? But when it's backs against the wall, squeaky bum time, clutch time, whatever you want to call it, and they need to get a result, especially for Louis van Gaal in terms of, him maybe getting sacked sooner than, the end of the season, the team pulls it out. And it needs to be said that, I wasn't expecting a victory. I wasn't. I was expecting a good game, but I wasn't expecting a victory. This is a West Ham team that was in great form going into the game, showing a lot of bounce back ability going into the game. And honestly, I was expecting them to win. I was expecting them to win. But when you have a talent like Marcus Rashford, where, he scored a legit goal of the week contender. Stay tuned for stuff of the week, see if it's anyone else's goal of the week. Is it mine? You have to stay tuned to find out. When you have a young talent like him scoring goals like that, as I say, in clutch time, crunch time, whatever you want to call it, brilliant. Just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, it was all about some backs to the walls defending. It wasn't all very pretty. James Tompkins' header, very, very brave, absolutely fantastic goal. Again, another potential goal of the week contender. But yeah, they pulled out the result. They pulled it out. And it was a crucial result, absolutely crucial result, because, and this is the reason why, financially speaking, Manchester United cannot afford to end this season without a silverware. They can't. So they need to go on, they need to win it. And they've taken a step closer to that. So that's in their own hands. And essentially, let's be realistic, there really isn't much else to play for. And as you pointed out earlier, if Liverpool win the Europa League, touch wood, they don't do it, right? And if Manchester City win the Champions League, touch wood, they don't do it, then that's really all that there is. So you might as well go get it with both hands. And I think that's what they're going to do.
Oh, why not? Why not? I mean, Man United in the FA Cup, Liverpool with the Europa League, might as well just go all out. Same with Man City in the Champions League too. Might as well just go all out and think, you know what, bugger it, let's just win it then. Or at least try. Oh, why the hell?
Exactly.
But I mean, Ryan Sonley, you wanted to jump in on a couple of the games that we've mentioned so far.
Yeah, firstly, I'm going to jump in on the Borough game. I mean, to win 2-1 against Reading, good result. Borough have been, well, are actually the informed team of the championship. With going into this game was 4 wins out of 4, and they made it 5 out of 5. So I mean, good result there, and actually went back to the top of the league in the 94th minute, which I was so happy about. I mean, I wanted them to go back top. And I'm going to talk about Man City versus PSG. I only saw a little bit of this game because of obviously football training. But from what I saw, Man City looked really good. I mean, PSG were trying to break them down and couldn't. And I mean, Man City scored through De Bruyne, and it was a good finish by De Bruyne. I mean, there's no stopping it. But Kevin Trapp was beaten. And then I'm going to talk about Liverpool Dortmund, which reminded me of Middlesbrough versus Steaua Bucharest and FC Bowl back in the 2005-06 season, where my team, Middlesbrough, had to come back from 3-1 down to win a game and progress. And Liverpool, I mean, 2-0 down after 5 and 9 minutes. I was thinking Liverpool may be dead and buried here, but hopefully they're not. And I was hoping that they could do something. And then when they went 3-1 down with Michael Royce, I was just thinking, this is going to be the greatest comeback since Istanbul for Liverpool. And when they did it, I mean, Coutinho, Divock, RG, Sacco and Lovren all scoring in an important game like that, it just made me think of 2004-05 season when Middlesbrough came back from 3-1 down to actually win 4-3 as well.
I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, it was legalized insanity. It must be said. I mean, it was just it was nuts. But of course, like I said earlier, there's precedent when it comes to Liverpool and comebacks like that. There really is precedent for it. But it didn't make it any less emotional. I would say that much. So it was one of them. It was just a hell of a lot of fun. Hell of a lot of fun to watch that game back and just be like, hey, hats off. Because hey, some people would have lost the faith at 2-0 down of them. No, this is over. It's like, as I say to people, don't leave a football match early. Don't switch it off early, because you never know what's going to happen. You just never know. But it's one of them ones also in terms of never know what's going to happen. We're going to jump into the weekend's results. Saturday, 16th of April, 2016. In the Barclays Premier League, Norwich 0, Sunderland 3. Barini scoring a penalty on 41 minutes. After Wisdom did catch him quite badly. Good spot by the referee, by the way. But it is one of them ones. Jermaine Defoe scored on 53 minutes. Good finish as well. And Watmore scored on 91 minutes. Finished from a tight angle. Everton won, Southampton won. Funes Mori at the second time of asking, scoring on 68 minutes. And Sadio Mane scored on 76 minutes. Man United won, Aston Villa 0. Rashford with the only goal of the game on 32 minutes, and it was a quality finish too. But what that means is that Villa are relegated. Not exactly breaking news that Aston Villa got relegated by Manchester United officially on Saturday, because it was probably back in October when they officially got relegated. But anyway, leaving that one aside, that's the way it is. But speaking of, as I said, never know what's going to happen. Newcastle United 3, Swansea 0. And that and the Sunderland result, I only saw after the Ibis Eagles 6s doubleheader. More on that later in the grassroots segment. But it was like where you know when you think to yourself, where the hell are these results coming from? The Norwich Sunderland result and that Newcastle Swansea result were just both that, because Newcastle Lascelles on 40 minutes, Sissoko on 82, and Andros Townsend coming on as a sub made that impact and scored on 89 minutes to give Rafael Benitez a happy birthday. And it was one of them, was just like, wow, where did that come from? West Brom 0, Watford 1. Ben Watson with a cheeky little front post finish on the 27 minutes, getting the only goal in that game. And the late game on Saturday was Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. Manchester City tore Chelsea apart. In terms of possession, Chelsea didn't start off too badly, but Man City, that man Aguero, he is that damn good. 33 minutes opened the score and scored again on 54 minutes. Courtois was sent off on 78 minutes, and you know what? It is one of them ones, can't even argue with it. Sergio Aguero scored a penalty on 80 minutes. Man. Sky Bet Championship. Bolton 1, Middlesbrough 2. Vela scored on 61 minutes. Rhodes equalised on 73, and Jordan Rhodes scored again on 91 minutes. Middlesbrough getting closer. Birmingham 1, Burnley 2. Boyd on 31 minutes. Magoma on 55 minutes. Andre Gray scoring on 77 minutes to win it for Burnley, and Torral was sent off on 94 minutes. Blackburn 0, Huddersfield 2. Naki Wells opened the scoring on 35 minutes, and a Kilgallen own goal on 54 minutes gave Huddersfield the points. Brentford 1, Bristol City 1. Lee Tomlin opened the scoring on 45 minutes, and Hogan equalised on 91 minutes. No, not the Hogan who's music here. Anyway, Cardiff 0, QPR 0, Charlton 0, Derby County 1. Russell with the only goal of the game on 60 minutes. Leeds United 3, Reading 2. 2 wins in 2 for Leeds. Hector opened the scoring on 39 minutes. And Diogo Raga scored on 48 minutes to equalise for Leeds. Wood scored on 69 minutes. Raquel's equalised on 81 minutes for Reading, but Wood scored the winner on 85 minutes for Leeds. Preston 1, MK Dons 1. Beckford opened the scoring on 6 minutes. Maynard equalised on 54 minutes. Cropper was sent off on 81. Rotherham 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Ipswich 1. Forestieri scored on 42 minutes, opened the scoring for Sheffield Wednesday, but Dozel equalised for Ipswich on 71 minutes. Sky Bet League 1, Chesterfield 0, Sheffield United 3. Baptiste on 4 minutes, Adams on 35 minutes, and Billy Sharp on 59 minutes for the Blades. Burton 0, Barnsley 0, Colchester 1, Peterborough 4. Taylor on 2 minutes, Fox on 67. Coolfirst on 69 gave Peterborough a 3-0 lead, but Moncur scored on 76 minutes, and Madison scored on 94 minutes to make it 4-1 to Peterborough. Coventry 2, Millwall 1. Webster opened the scoring on 19 minutes. Williams was sent off on 28. Fleck scored on 61 minutes, and Tudgay won it for Coventry on 70 minutes. Crew 2, Scunthorpe 3. Turton on 15 minutes opened the scoring for Crew, but Williams and Adelakan scored on 43 and 64 respectively for Scunthorpe. Williams scored again on 75 minutes, and Haber scored what ended up as consolation on 79 minutes. Doncaster 3, Wigan 1. Grigg again scoring on 41 minutes, but Butler scored on 50 and 54 minutes, and Williams scored a penalty on 88 minutes. Perkins was sent off on 86. Excuse me. Fleetwood 1, Oldham 1. Skugel scored on 67 minutes for Fleetwood, and Oldham equalised through Kelly on 77. Gillingham 0, Port Vale 2. Leitch Smith on 19 minutes. Dickinson on 21 minutes. Rochdale 3, Blackpool 0. Eastham on 45 minutes. Bunny on 50 minutes. And Mendes Lang on 60 minutes. Shrewsbury 1, Bradford 1. Proctor opened the scoring on 71 minutes. Akpro scoring on 84 minutes. Swindon 0, Bury 1. Mayer on 63 minutes with the only goal in that one. Walsall 1, Southend 0. Hiwula Meifulia scoring on 80 minutes, the only goal in that game. Big shout outs to Tom Wood, who is our resident Southend United supporter. Sky Bet League 2, Mansfield 5, Notts County 0. Sorry, Big T. Still throw them T's up for you though. Green on 6 minutes, Chapman on 57, Green again on 60, Lamb on 67, and Rose on 83. Accrington 2, Morecambe 2. Miller on 12 minutes for Morecambe. Windass on 21. leveled it up for Accrington, scored again from the penalty spot on 48 minutes, and Barkhusian equalised on 79 minutes. Wimbledon 1, Crawley 0. Robinson with the only goal in that game on 83. Bristol Rovers 2, Yeovil 1. Gaffney on 42 minutes. Lita equalised on 73 minutes for Yeovil, but Taylor won it for Bristol on 77 minutes. Cambridge 0, Carlisle 0. 2 sendings off in this one, both for Carlisle. Hope on 23 minutes, and Ellis after a second booker ball on 94 minutes. He was booked on 83. Exeter 0, Northampton 0. Hartlepool 2, York City 1. Thomas on 24 minutes. Winfield was sent off after a second booker ball on 35. He was first booked on 19. Cameron equalised in first half stoppage time, and Woods won it for Hartlepool on 72. Leyton Orient 3, Dagenham Redbridge 2. Simpson on 3 and in first half stoppage time. Curiton on 59. Di Camona scoring on 60 minutes, but Nandale won it on 65 minutes for Leyton Orient. Oxford United 2, Luton 3. Hilton on 2 minutes. Pigger equalised on 4 minutes. Lee scored in first half stoppage time. Dunkley scored for Oxford United to make it 2-2 on 51, and Pigger won it on 58 minutes. Portsmouth 1, Plymouth 2. Smith on 37 minutes to open and scores for Pompey, but Matt and Wild scoring on 86 and 86. One of them was 2 goals in very quick succession. Stevenage 2, Newport 1. Stephen is getting a win. Mulroney scoring on 9 minutes. O'Connor scoring on 33 minutes to give Stevenage a 2-0 lead, and Rodman scoring on 87. Consolation for Newport. Wickham 1, Barnet 1. Hayes opened the scoring for Wickham on 58 minutes, and Yadam scored on 72 to equalise for Barnet. Now moving on to Sunday, 17th of April 2016. Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 2. Roberto Firmino, one of the only survivors in terms of starters from Thursday, opening the scoring on 41 minutes. Brilliant improvisation, it must be said, by Daniel Sturridge. Saved by Boruc, and then, well, Firmino had a tap in, but Daniel Sturridge got his own goal on in first half stoppage time. Lovely cross as well for it, but it's from Jordan Ibe. But his one of them was Josh King on 93 minutes, scored a low drive, but too little too late. Speaking of too little too late, Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 1. Alexis Sanchez in first half stoppage time with good header actually scoring, and Yannick Bolasie equalised on 81 minutes. Seems like the Arsenal defence just backed off it, and it was just like, here you go, take a shot. But I don't know if Czech saw it late, but it was one of them ones. If you really expect a keeper of his quality to get down to it, you really would. But Leicester 2, West Ham 2. Controversy in this one because Jamie Vardy opened the scoring on 18 minutes, was booked on 28 minutes, and got sent off for simulation on 56 minutes. I'll come back to that in a second. Andy Carroll scored a penalty on 84 minutes. Aaron Cresswell scored a legit goal of the week contender on 86 minutes. And Leonardo Ulloa scored a penalty on 95 minutes. Now, controversy. Jamie Vardy being getting a second yellow on 56 minutes. Can't agree with that decision at all. And it's one of them was the way it, I think from the ref's angle, the way he kind of almost looked like he threw himself down, that was maybe in the referee's mind. But then the Andy Carroll penalty, the other penalty later on in the game, it was kind of like, wait, if you just even this up, because that wasn't a pen. It was one of them ones. There was another penalty there was another couple of penalties that really should have been given. So it's kind of like, just very, very odd decisions. Very, very odd decisions. I think the Ulloa penalty that was given to Leicester, no, never a pen for me. But it's maybe me speaking against the speaking as the part of the defenders union, but still no. It was one of them was, funnily enough, actually, the referee was actually switched from this game because John Moss was not the original ref down to take this game, but they were seen as somewhat of a conflict of interest with the ref originally assigned, so they switched him. They might be regretting that decision. But the SSE Women's FA Cup semi-final, Arsenal ladies 7, Sunderland ladies 0. Yeah, it is one of them ones where Danielle van der Donk scored a hat-trick. And even though they went down to 10 players for much of the game, they reached their 15th Women's FA Cup final. The Gunners lost Emma Mitchell to 2 yellow cards, but Van den Donk and Dan Carter put them in control. Sunderland's Abby Holmes was sent off for fouling Carter in the box, and Farrell Williams converted from the spot. Van den Donk completed a hat-trick. Carter got 2, and Jordan Nobbs was on target as well. Now, the Arsenal ladies have won the FA Cup, the Women's FA Cup, a record 13 times. So they could lift it for a third time in 4 seasons. And their opposition are Chelsea ladies. Chelsea ladies 2, Manchester City women 1 after extra time. That was after extra time. Ross opened the scoring on 73 minutes for Man City women. G equalized on 86 minutes. And Fran Kirby scored on the 120th minute. So, May 14th, 2016. It is going to be one of them ones. Wembley, May 14th, Women's FA Cup final. It will be Arsenal ladies versus Chelsea ladies. The headline, the main event match. It will be Arsenal ladies versus Chelsea ladies. Just want to say a big time shout out to Girls on the Ball, friends of the show and women's football aficionados. It is one of us at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, girlsontheball.com, and facebook.com/Girls on the Ball. Check them out, give them a like, give them a follow, check out their website. They've got blogs, pictures, match reports, as well as blogs on the women's game. So anything you want to know about the women's game, get in touch with Girls on the Ball and let them know we sent you. That's at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, girlsontheball.com, and facebook.com/Girls on the Ball as well. There is also Pitch Talk meets Girls on the Ball on YouTube as well. youtube.com/Pitch Talk. Go to the Pitch Talk meets. Go to the Pitch Talk Meets playlist, and you will see Pitch Talk Meets Girls on the Ball there. So yeah, it is one of them ones. Funnily enough, actually, Arsenal ladies versus Chelsea ladies is actually May 14th, which is the week before the men's FA Cup final. Almost a dress rehearsal. But yeah, it is one of them ones. It's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So in consecutive weeks, you've got the women's FA Cup final, then the men's FA Cup final, then the men's Champions League. That's on May 28th. So, and the Europa League final, same was in between. So it's going to be very, very interesting. The very merry month of May will be very, very interesting. But yeah, in terms of Leicester West Ham, referee had a horror show. Can't wait to read Dave Mear, aka Mearcy's blog on that, because it really was poor. Man, it must be said, the ref in that were real poor. I mean, Jezzy Fizzle, your views on the weekend's results that we just mentioned.
Oh, absolutely huge. I mean, I have to say Chelsea, let's be honest, they're a bit of a disappointment. Wow, I mean, this is the battle of millionaires, billionaires, and it wasn't really much of a battle. It was all Manchester City. Yeah. Chelsea, I say Manchester United are consistently inconsistent. So are Chelsea. And Chelsea have been bitterly disappointing throughout the whole campaign.
I'm personally hoping they stay where they are in the league and they finish 10th, because that would be one of them ones. Not only is that embarrassing as reigning champions for them, but also it will it will show certain Chelsea fans what they were before the money came in. That's all I'm saying, because I know a lot of Chelsea fans who don't know what Chelsea were. And I've ended up having to school them, saying, hey, you may not remember what you were, but I do. You may only know the money. Like Shane O'Mac, here comes the money. That's all you know. And we know before that.
Yeah, so, overall, For me, it wasn't much of a contest. Manchester City showed they're in a good vein of form. It's going to be very interesting having them go into the Champions League quarter-final, should I say semi-final, against Real Madrid. So it's going to be interesting. But like I say, for Chelsea and Chelsea fans, it was just a disappointment. Even for the neutral, it was a disappointment. You know, you wanted a bit more fight, a bit more spark from Chelsea, but no, it just wasn't there. Wasn't meant to be. Just to touch briefly, Sunderland, well done to Sunderland, right? Because for all intents and purposes, no, they're not quite Aston Villa, but I thought, you know, their season was more or less dead and buried. It was over. And then they go and produce a result like that. You know, I think Duncan Watmore, he has been, I suppose, a bit of a lucky charm, right? Maybe they needed to have him finish his degree earlier and have him play more in the first team. I know he's come back from injury as well, but he's been so important to that team. They need him. They need him. It really is that simple, but absolutely fantastic result for Sunderland. Really, really a surprise. Really, really a surprise. And, you know, speaking of which, got to touch on Jermaine Defoe briefly as well. He was brilliant, in my opinion. And then, of course, I want to talk about Arsenal. Just briefly, because some of the memes that I've seen.
Oh, like the Welbeck one. The only thing you've done here in 10 years is grow a beard. That's living.
Some of the memes I've seen have been absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I do want to say as well, briefly, about Aston Villa. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a crying shame. But when you look at their performance over the course of the season, they've been awful. It's been absolutely awful. And to be honest, I'm fearful for Aston Villa and Aston Villa fans because I don't know how long it's going to take them to bounce back. I say what might happen to them was what happened to QPR. I think they could have a similar fate. And they might not make it back up again. I think everything there has to be ripped up, destroyed, and you just start over. Because as it currently stands, I don't know when this team is going to go and bounce back from that. I really don't.
The thing is, though, you got guys like Stan Collymore shooting their mouths off and saying, "Oh yeah, let me do this for Villa, let me do that for Villa." It's like, okay, at least he's saying, "All right, I'm gonna help," rather than someone like, say, Joe Leon Lescott coming out with his apparent quote about getting relegated is a weight off the shoulders and all that, and now we can give the fans what they deserve. And it's like, okay, it's a bit of an odd one. If that quote even is true, but with Villa, it's an odd one because Brian Little, funnily enough, is being linked to that job, and it's like, what's this? 1996? Is this 1996 all over again? What, are you going to bring back Dwight York and Savo Milosevic to play up top, and Mark Draper and Alan Wright, aka the twins? So you're going to bring these guys back as well? It's like, what the hell is this? It's sadder than WWE bringing back Hulk Hogan 20 million times. It's like, come on, come up with something forward-thinking and progressive, not going back to 20 years previous. That's the way I would look at it. But Villa are in trouble. I mean, funnily enough, there's actually been some news that has actually come out today in regards to Aston Villa. Apparently, David Moyes is keen on managing them. That's what's after being sacked from Real Sociedad in November. But apparently, he hasn't been contacted by them. That's one thing going around. David Bernstein and Lord King have actually resigned from the Aston Villa board 2 days after they were relegated. So disband Lord King, the former governor of the Bank of England, in February. So it's one of them ones where Brian Little will continue to advise Chairman Hollis on football-related matters while the search for a new manager remains priority. So Mervyn King and David Bernstein have left Aston Villa as directors of the club. So Villa, there's going to be some huge changes when it comes to Aston Villa with Bernstein and David Bernstein and Mervyn King leaving the club as directors. But it's one of them ones. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens to Aston Villa next, because the next few years are going to be. And the next few years is going to be very interesting for them to see if they can bounce right back. See if they can bounce right back on that. But I mean, Jezzy, did you have anything else you wanted to add on the weekend's results?
No, that was all. I wasn't going to add anything else other than West Ham Leicester. Brilliant game. But not for all the reasons you think. I mean, there's just so much drama. I mean, this even started from when they changed the ref. So, you know, people want to say, oh, but it wasn't, and was it? And look, the referee was inconsistent. There's no two ways about that. And the other thing to say is sometimes when things are going your way, things end up going your way.
Oh, yeah, look at the chance. Look, there was one chance that hit both posts. Schmeichel was beaten all heads up. It's like hit both posts and no one was there to just prod it in, and it's like, oh, that's how you know your luck is in. Oh, it is nuts, because you know it's one of them was if you're down in the relegation, in the relegation places, that's one of them ones. That's hitting both posts, then hitting your goalkeeper's back and going in. That's one of them you know your luck's in. Well, yeah, it is an interesting one to say the very least. But you know what? Yeah, Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in on the weekend's results.
Yes, I did, Liam. I'll start off with the United one from Saturday, which I was at in the game of 2 halves. Reading better start and to Reading in front. The second half, started a brilliant ball from Chris Wood out wide to Gaetano Berardi to cross in for Big Dave, aka to Mana Di Garaga to level was a 1-1. Fantastic ball from Chris Wood now wide to Charlie Taylor. Wood then managed to get into the box and head past the keeper, Al-Absi, who was the captain for Reading, the weekend. Going on to Reading's equalising goal to make it 2-2 from Raquel's. Before that even come about, the ball hadn't even out of play. Ola John was off the field. The ball was on the field. Ola John bent down, picked up the ball, and took the throw in. It was a blatant handball. Watched back on our TV channel yesterday because all I could wear was that, so I had to just double check. And it was blatant handball. Chris is now, two in game. Once he goes for him, and then he gets 2-1. Hopefully, he can continue that against Wolves tomorrow in a 3-0 win for that Kieran. And I think we can find the score he needs. And if he wasn't the lead, then was probably got 20 this season if he wasn't injured. Rotherham did well against Forest, considering both are fighting down at the bottom of the table. That's a good. Rotherham are safe now tomorrow against Huddersfield again, which I'll be at. And they'll be safe tomorrow. So, for me, that. Well, relax. Say on that, guys, this week.
Oh, no problem. Sorry about that, Russ. Yeah, you're breaking up quite badly there, so we'll try and come back to you in a bit, actually. But yeah, also Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll start with the Stevenage game. Obviously, that's probably all but going to do do us for the season. Now that's going to keep us in League Two for next season. So I think we need a draw against Bristol Rovers tomorrow. So that's pretty much job done there. Fantastic 3 points. I didn't expect it. I thought with Newport being in and around the relegation zone as well, I thought it'd be a very close game as it was, and I just thought I thought we'd probably end up drawing the game and not being strong enough to win it. But then it's kind of quite appropriate that we won the game, and then Angell helps us out as well. We was on loan with us earlier in the season, and was with us for a couple of months there. So he's basically helped us out. So that was nice of him. But yeah, I think that's it. Now we should be safe, and we just have to really, really, get busy in the summer. And I'll just get rid of half of the squad again. I know we've done it so often, but you just have to kind of look at where we can kind of go for next year. And we need to make sure that we've got the players there that want to be moving forwards. And at the moment, I think we've got a lot of short-term players, short-term deals and stuff, and loans, and 1 month loans and short-term contracts, and not even a proper manager in charge at the moment. This is just going to be a very busy summer, but I do just want to say that it's been a very hard season, and it's just quite pleasing in a way to actually be coming towards the end of it and knowing that we'll still be in League Two next year.
I mean, at least it's one of them ones where if you're going to be staying in the same league, you could be like, right, okay, we're guaranteed. Let's start building stuff now and getting stuff in place ahead of pre-season. Can have a real good run at pre-season and get yourself ready for next season. And potentially some sort of promotion push, potentially. So it's always good to get, the earlier you can start preparing, the better. Speaking of preparation, actually, Aurelio Gomez actually set a Premier League record by becoming the first person to save 2 penalties in 2 different games. Now, it's one of them was he saved 2 penalties from Berahino against Watford in the victory over West Brom. And in April 2010, he stopped 2 penalties from Darren Bent in Tottenham's 3-1 defeat to Sunderland in the same game. So it's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one. Just what I mentioned that one. I mean, Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in on a couple more games?
Yeah, and you were talking about penalties there as well. MK Dons and Preston. How crazy was that? The guy, I'm trying to think who it was now. The striker for MK Dons ends up going in goal, saving the penalty, and getting his side a point. Alex Ravel, that's it. That's the guy's name, Russ. Thank you. That was insane. When I heard that, because obviously I was listening to Borough Player, and it's kind of in and around the same area, so I had that come through as well, and it was just insane to hear that. And you don't hear that very often. And I think he went down injured after he saved it as well. So I don't know. Maybe it was shock. I don't know. Maybe Petr Cech should have watched him as well, because I don't know what he was doing for that Crystal Palace goal yesterday. That was insane. But yeah, Alex Ravel has just shown that he can actually, be maybe MK Dons' number 2 keeper for next season, as well as their top striker.
You never know, Yeah, you never know. It's competition, isn't it? Yeah. It's good to have that competition. If we won, there was a bit of banner in the change room. It's like, hey, I could take your job anytime you want,
Just anytime he makes a mistake, it's like, yeah, I would have saved that.
Actually, funnily enough, with the Ibis Eagles, we were actually doing that on Saturday with Dave Handley, because it's Dave Handley and Nabil Khan going basically literally head to head in terms of top goal scorer for the club. I think they're back level again after Dave's 2 on the weekend. More on that shortly. So it's like every time Dave would miss or fluff his lines, it's like Nabil would have scored that. Bill would have done that. It was hilarious. So it'd be that kind of thing. But yeah, it's one of them was Ryan Sonley. You wanted to jump in as well on the weekend's games.
Yeah, firstly, I'm going to jump in on Bolton versus Middlesbrough. This was probably Bolton's best game of the season. I mean, they looked like they were going to nick all 3 points from us. I mean, they were just unstoppable until Jordan Rhodes got an equaliser and actually managed to score a winner in the 91st minute from a David Nugent cross. So, I mean, good result there, even though we didn't deserve it. But I'm happy that we got the 3 points. And I'm going to now talk about Northampton Exeter. I mean, I'm going to do a big, massive shout out to Sarah Turner, Hayley Joyce, Martin Maloney, and Anya Waples, who actually support Northampton Town. And congratulations to you on winning League Two. So, well done there.
Hey, after what happened earlier this season, where they almost went out of existence, Northampton Town have absolutely smashed it. Gotta give them credit on that one.
They deserve it. I mean, I seen them at their place. They look shaky, but that was because of their financial stuff going on. But when they played us down at Home Park, they were the best side that I've seen at Home Park. And then we had Oxford second. I would give that the second best game of this season. So, and now I'm going to talk about Portsmouth Plymouth. When I was actually in the back garden, my mum's doing some work, like smashing up glass to put into a recycle bin. And when Michael Smith scored the first goal, I was like, no, because we're not comeback kings or anything. I mean, yeah, we've done it, and I was actually shocked when Jamil Mack scored from a Graham Carey corner, and then minutes later, I was actually well, not even minutes actually. It was literally seconds later. Greg Wild, not like BBC Radio Devon said, it was Jordan Houghton. It was actually Greg Wild hit a strike and actually scored. I mean, his 8th goal of the season and gave us the 2-1 victory. So, I mean, there was a bit of controversy in the first half where Luke McCormick handed the ball outside of his penalty area, and some Portsmouth fans are saying, why wasn't he sent off? And I actually was thinking, if it had been like, if the ball had not been on the edge of the corner of the box, he would have only just been booked, which he got booked. But if he was denying a goal scoring opportunity from like outside the D of the box, then he would have been sent off. But I'm actually happy that he actually clarified that he was actually lucky to stay on the pitch as well. And fantastic support. 2,405 supporters at Pompey. Well, let's bring on Leyton Orient tomorrow night, and I'll be there.
Oh, good stuff. It's one of them was good stuff, man. I hope you enjoy it as well. You know what? It is one of them ones where Brad Hicks, you wanted to jump in as well, didn't you, on some of the weekend's results? I'm guessing you're going to jump in on Leicester West Ham especially.
That's the only one I'm going to jump in on.
The only one. What was your thoughts on
it? The fact that was appointed is not a disgrace. I swear, he's on the West Ham payroll or on the Spurs payroll, because the amount of decisions he gave to them, good grief. I mean, where do they get these guys from?
In all honesty, I'm actually not sure. But I mean, the Vardy sending off. What was your view on that? Because obviously it's courted controversy, and I think it was very harsh. It was one of them ones. I don't think it was simulation. In all honesty, it'd be one of them ones. I don't even think it was a foul, but hey, it's one of them ones. But what did you think of the Vardy sending off?
Wasn't it sending off?
But then what about Ulloa's penalty that he got?
Pretty one. It probably wasn't, but nah. You can't blame him.
But then this is the thing, though. It was poor decisions given for both sides. So in my view, anyway. So it wasn't one of them ones where one bloody person was getting one set of guys was getting favoritism in terms of decisions. I mean, they were just poor either way. But do you think this is the beginning of Leicester maybe slipping up a touch? Do you reckon?
Hell no.
I love that. Not even I hope not. It's just hell no. We might see a little bit of shaking, but I think it's one of us. It's definitely Leicester's title to lose. So it's one of them ones where it's kind of like, nah. I don't think Leicester will drop it now, and I'm hoping they don't. But it's one of them ones. It's gonna be very interesting to see. There's chances. There's chances to drop the ball. I mean, obviously Jamie Vardy has been charged by the Football Association as well. He might actually get an extended ban just because he's been charged with improper conduct by the FA after remonstrating with John Moss after being shown a red card. So the FA charged Leicester as well with failing to control their players after West Ham won an 83rd minute penalty. So there's going to be a little more. So there's going to be a little more on that. There's definitely going to be a little more on that. There's a couple of little things in regards to Leicester that we're kind of waiting on resolutions on. Let's say, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, Russ Vernon, you had a quick question before we need to move on.
Yeah, just a quick question for you, Liam.
Mm-hmm. Shoot.
With Origi playing well and scoring goals, would you, even I know Sturridge played well yesterday and go on, he could add 3 for me, would you play Origi and Sturridge for the remainder of the season as your front two, or would you just play Origi and then fetch Sturridge off the bench when needed?
Right now, I'd probably lean towards Origi just because not only is his hold up play pretty good, but also he does work that bit harder. But the fact is, it'd be one of them was similar to what we did against Dortmund on Thursday. It's good to have Sturridge as an option. As a main option, because it worked well against Dortmund. It worked well when he came on because it was the extra threat, and Origi is really putting in shifts and bothering defenses. So it'd be one of them. I mean, Origi would be the choice. Would be the first choice. Hell, it's one of them. He might end up getting himself a European Championship place at this rate. So it's gonna be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, Ryan Sonley, you wanted to mention something as well, didn't you?
I've just got Haley Joyce, who's listening to Pitch Talk via the YouTube link.
Good evening.
So good evening, Haley. And she said she is proud of her club from nearly going bust to being champions, and it's amazing. So there you go, Haley. There's a big shout out to you there.
It's one of them, as I said, Northampton Town, everything that went on off the pitch earlier in the season, they've done brilliantly. They really have, because a lot of other teams have had that kind of controversy go on and crumbled. Bolton Wanderers, the most pertinent example. So it's an interesting one. Well, they're going to end up meeting each other next season. So it's one of them. Congrats all round there with Northampton Town. But yeah, it is one of them where it is about that time for us to start Switching focus. Starting to switch focus because, well, we've still got a lot more to show. We've still got a hell of a lot more show to go. So let's pause that particular track that was in the background because it's time to switch segments on to
Generally, talking points. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of villages. Straight shooting out the Haiti G9 and Desi Fizzle. Monday night football and Fix. It is Monday night and this is organized mayhem. Organized mayhem. We eat cool PET. This is Monday night. And we are live on Facebook. Yeah, it is one of them ones. We are live. We are still live on YouTube. Big ups who will be listening to this on the Mixcloud, Podomatic, iTunes, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio podcast. Remember, we podcast in 5 different places. Pick your poison. Pick your poison. It is one of them ones. But Stoke City 0, Tottenham 1 is a current score, about 67 minutes played in that. Kane got the only goal of the game so far on 9 minutes, and we are just getting word through that it's now 2-0. Just as we throw to an update, it's 2-0. It's 2-0 to Spurs. Delhi Ali with the goal in that one. So good stuff. Speaking of something that is not necessarily good stuff, Newcastle United. This is from the 14th of October 2015. We're going to go back to take it forward and bring it up to date because Jonas Gutierrez on the 14th of October 2015 accused Newcastle United of discrimination. Former Newcastle United player Jonas Gutierrez is suing the club over the way he says they treated him after he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. The Argentina international, who's 32, was released by the Magpies last season after 7 years on Tyneside. He returned to action in March after 18 months of treatment and recovery. Gutierrez is alleging disability discrimination by the club, and an employment tribunal is due to hear the case next March. The player helped Newcastle to avoid relegation from the Premier League with a goal in a 2-0 win over West Ham on the final day of last season, one of only 10 appearances he made for the club following his initial diagnosis in 2013. However, he was released shortly afterwards and now plays for Deportivo La Coruña in Spain. In June of last year, he told BBC how the club made him feel like they don't care by telling him they were releasing him in a phone call. Sounds a lot like Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac. Broken neck, released by a fax. Same with Steve Austin, actually. Torn his tricep, released by FedEx. But yeah, he had surgery in October 2013 after being diagnosed with testicular cancer, then received chemotherapy when it returned. He was finally given the all clear to play again earlier in 2015, as mentioned. Now, fast forward to April 14th, 2016. Midfielder Jonas Gutierrez was dropped by Newcastle United because of his cancer diagnosis, an employment tribunal has found. Jonas Gutierrez was suing the Magpies Newcastle for about £2 million on the grounds of disability discrimination. The tribunal also ruled the club made it impossible for Gutierrez to trigger an appearance-based contract extension. Now, Newcastle say they are dismayed by the judgment and are considering further options with their legal team.
Gutierrez barrister Martin Budworth said the tribunal has made it clear that a Premier League football club owes the same duties to a disabled person as any other employer. Claims of unfavorable treatment and another of harassment related to disability were dismissed. A further remedy hearing will be held in due course, in which compensation will be addressed. Although Gutierrez has not released a statement, he did post on social media saying, "Always in my heart, Geordie Nation, I love you." Now, Gutierrez's claims, as mentioned, is one of them. He'd been a regular at St James's Park before he was diagnosed with testicular cancer in October of 2013, scoring 10 goals in 177 appearances at the time of the return of the illness and subsequent treatment. The Argentina international sued Newcastle over the way he was treated following his diagnosis and claimed the Premier League club saw him as a liability after he returned from treatment. He also alleged that he was not selected for some of the second half of the 2014-15 season when the Magpies avoided relegation on the final day, so the club would not trigger an automatic one-year contract extension. Now, the findings, the tribunal found that Gutierrez was discriminated against following his diagnosis and subsequent return to fitness, as it deemed he was considered part of the club's plans right up to the point of his absence. The ruling also stated that Gutierrez had maintained his place in the starting lineup without difficulty for 5 years. Just over 2 weeks after the claimant returned to the club in November 2013 following his diagnosis and treatment, and at a point when he was match fit and returning into action, he was told that he no longer featured in the club's future plans. We conclude that the decision to drop the claimant was because of the claimant's cancer. The tribunal also concluded that Gutierrez was not considered for selection following his return to fitness until he could not achieve the 80 Premier League starts required over the length of his 4-year contract to trigger the extension. As a result of his absence because of cancer, Gutierrez only had 121 games instead of 152 to earn his extended deal, and the club had discriminated against him by failing to make reasonable adjustments. The ruling stated it was in essence more difficult for the claimant to achieve the required number of games because in the periods of time that he was absent for treatment or rehabilitation, he had to be more frequently selected as a proportion of the total number of games available than his non-disabled counterparts. We conclude that this was substantial, more than minor or trivial disadvantage, a substantial disadvantage. Had the possibility of triggering the clause not been an issue, then Mr. Charnley, Newcastle Managing Director Lee Charnley, would not have needed to discuss it at all with Mr. Carver, John Carver, and would not have needed to double check how close the claimant was to triggering the cause. Now, claims of unfavorable treatment were rejected as his move to Norwich City on loan in January 2014 was consensual. A claim of harassment which related to Gutierrez training and playing with the under-21s was also dismissed as the tribunal ruled that many players such as David Santon, Sim de Jong and Gabriel Obertan were required to do so to gain match fitness after injury. Now, in terms of the witnesses, Gutierrez was found to be a credible and convincing witness. Former Newcastle boss Alan Pardew was able to deliver his evidence in a confident and convincing and articulate way. However, the detail of what was said was not necessarily as credible as the manner in which the evidence was delivered. Some of Pardew's evidence was deemed to be contradictory and inconsistent. Very important point to focus on there. Managing Director Charnley's evidence was described as evasive and lacking in credibility. And this is Newcastle United's Managing Director, Lee Charnley. Come back to that in a minute. Parts of former Newcastle boss John Carver's evidence were vague and were rejected. Newcastle's unconvincing evidence in August 2013, Newcastle's club doctor advised that Gutierrez, who was recovering from a hamstring injury, should be picked as a substitute at the very most. Pardew had picked Gutierrez to he did not understand the doctor's advice, a claim the tribunal considered improbable. Pardew was dismissive of some of the doctor's notes in Gutierrez's medical record, which read, somehow managed to start the game against Manchester City, manager's decision against medical advice. Charnley would not accept that Gutierrez was an established international player despite winning 22 caps and playing at the 2010 World Cup for Argentina. Charnley could not say how many international players Newcastle had in their squad in September of 2011. Charnley said that Gutierrez's 71 starts in 76 games in 2011-2012 and 2012-2013 only demonstrated someone who plays for the first team and not consistent performance. And I'm going to come back to that later because that's oxymoronic at best. Carver told the tribunal that Gutierrez had a certain clause in the contract that if he reached a certain criteria. He later said there was no discussion about the clause and denied knowing about what the certain criteria might be. So again, very contradictory there. But it's one of them. A couple of questions come out of this. Potentially sets a massive precedent that Jonas Gutierrez has won this case. And it's good that it was actually stated that, yeah, Premier League clubs do have the same duty of care as other employers when it comes to disability. Because that's the way it should be. If you are a legitimate employer, you do have a duty of care, in my opinion. But Jezzy Fizzle, what's your view on Jonas Gutierrez winning his case against Newcastle United?
Well, I have to say, I think in order for him to win it, there has to be sufficient grounds. And in my opinion, there was sufficient grounds. I was actually quite surprised, to think that a player that was so instrumental in them staying up to kind of be pushed aside in the way that he was. So, for me, it's not surprising. And Newcastle have a lot to answer for as a football club and a sporting organisation, right? Because if we go back to that period of time with our Pitch Talk live shows, I actually said this is one of the stories of the season, right? With the fact that he was away from the first team with cancer, comes back, beats cancer, and then saves the club from relegation. I'm like, I actually said at the time, it's the ultimate feel-good story of the season.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it well.
So for him, who is essentially a club hero, cult hero among all the fans, just for that, never mind all the games before, just for that, he's a cult hero. And he's been discarded like this. Like, he could have, there's so many different ways that Newcastle could have handled this. Right? In the sense of, if they didn't think that he was physically fit enough to play again, they could have had him come out, make a formal announcement. He could now be a club ambassador. Right? While playing at a lower level, if he decided to do so. Right? There's so many other ways for Newcastle to have taken this. It really is, in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous that it was allowed to get this far. Absolutely ridiculous. Because, one, he's played such a major part in the club history. Number two, he's still an employee, right? And number three, the discrimination or potential discrimination there is just sickening, to be frank with you. It's just sickening. Especially when you consider all that he's given the club as well. So, as you rightly pointed out, there is it's a very interesting precedent that's being set there. Very interesting precedent, because now a lot of other clubs are going to have to be a lot more careful with how they deal with players with other health concerns. Because this isn't just about cancer. No, this is about all health concerns, full stop.
I couldn't agree more.
All right, so if a player has a persistent injury layoff because of a persistent knee injury or hamstring injury, or calf injury or ankle injury, all of those things are now in play because of this ruling. So, as I say, I think it has a much wider impact. And then, of course, to broaden it even further, it has a very wide and overarching impact across all sport, especially in the UK. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens from this point going forward. But as I say, if there wasn't grounds for this, it wouldn't be awarded, in my humble opinion. So the mere fact that it was awarded, I says to you, one, he has grounds, and number two, they've done enough to have that all sorted out. So for me, I'm very happy that this is the case, because One, this was an issue that needed to be addressed anyway, in terms of sport and law, and the implications of how sports teams manage their players in terms of health, fitness and injury, and return from injury, as well as sickness as well. So it's huge in that regard. And of course, you know, in terms of personal victories, it's a huge personal victory for Jonas Gutierrez and his family. Absolutely huge. And, you know, I can only send out my thoughts to them to say, you know, it's only a small measure. And I don't want to say justice. It's really just compensation, right? Because if you were to ask Jonas Gutierrez, does he even now still want to play for Newcastle? The answer would be absolutely yes. The only reason why he doesn't is because of how the club treated him. So you also have to look at the hierarchy of the club and say, did no one have any kind of perception of, you know, just the personal implications for Jonas himself? For you to turn around to him and essentially say to him, look, we know this was your livelihood. We know you gave, you know, many years of your life to the game and to the club, but we don't want you anymore on account of what's happened to you. I mean, forget football, right? Let's just look at it from a wider life perspective. If anyone was to turn around and say that to you about anything to do with you, how would you feel? You'd feel awful. So, you know, his feelings of anger and everything else, totally justified in my opinion. Totally justified. And I think going forward, you know, it's a lesson for a lot of different clubs and for individuals as well. So I'd say if there are any other individuals that feel that they're being exiled or persecuted for health reasons, this is now the president to go and say, well, look, if this is how you feel and you have evidence to back it up, take them to court. And for the other clubs as well, it's a notice to say, look, it's not going to be tolerated from a legal perspective in terms of how you're going to deal with players in regards to sickness, injuries, health, and fitness. It's not going to be tolerated anymore. So clubs are going to have to be very careful. But I also think overall, you know, it needs to be said that now, I think if there was a repeat of this incident, where there was a player that was diagnosed with cancer, comes back from cancer, and then is then exiled, or not even exiled, you know, I think the way to deal with that player, honestly, if they physically cannot play anymore, right? If they physically cannot play anymore, they are a club spokesperson, an ambassador, right? And they're there for every home game and involved in community projects. That's it. Right? If we're going to do community outreach work regarding cancer and everything else, you have someone to go and do all your public speaking that's affiliated with the club. You want a foundation, right, that goes and does outreach work for people that support the club but are also dealing with the issues surrounding cancer or any other severe illness. I mean, I'm not suggesting all these ideas for Newcastle United, but I think, one, these are all things that they should have done. And number two, why are you not doing it? And number three, if you want any help with setting that up, you can call me. We'll get all of those things on board. Because at the end of the day, realistically speaking, for everything that is in that machine at Newcastle United, these things should have been thought of already. This should have never happened. It's entirely avoidable, and I'll be honest with you, it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. Because now I say to you, as an employer, this is purely from a business perspective, as an employer, who wants to go and work for Newcastle United knowing this is what they've done? I will tell you right now, even though I said they can call me, I wouldn't want to work with them. Not based on that. Not based on that, because if that's how are they treating everybody else, how are they going to treat me?
Well, the thing is with football, and I know I might be beating a bit of a dead horse here in terms of because I've said it so much. Football, sadly, is such an unscrupulous sport, embarrassingly unscrupulous. I mean, it's one of them ones where if a club can potentially treat someone, or actually be proven to have treated someone with testicular cancer, who was diagnosed with testicular cancer like that, then that's not only unscrupulous, that is an absolute effing disgrace. It really is. I'd love to play the Didier Drogba soundbite, but this isn't even a joke, and nor am I trying to make one. It's one of them ones where it's like Lee Charnley, Newcastle's chief executive coming out, like his evidence being ruled by the tribunal to be evasive. It's like, why are you being evasive for? If you ain't got nothing to hide, you don't need to be evasive. So it's one of them was when I was reading through that and seeing how Newcastle had treated Jonas Gutierrez. It's one of them ones, like apparently John Carver being told by the powers that be at the club, right, don't play this person because we don't want to trigger his automatic release clause. Sorry, his automatic contract extension clause, because we see him as a liability because he's been diagnosed with testicular cancer. All that when I read that, it was just like,
tell me I did not just see that.
It was literally that. Cause then I'm literally thinking to the powers that be at Newcastle, especially even with John Carver saying, oh yeah, he knew of a clause in the contract, but didn't know what the clause was. John Carver, yo, bro.
If I wanted crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
Because there's no point you knowing that there's a clause in the contract if you're not going to know what it is. That's just stupid. That doesn't even make sense. Just like how Jonas Gutierrez was treated. That doesn't even make sense. Number one, that's a disgrace ethically. Number two, that's a disgrace professionally. And number three, from a PR standpoint, you're basically digging yourself a grave with a fork and spoon. It's really that stupid to do that kind of crap. And it's not on. It really isn't. It really is not on. So Jonas Gutierrez actually winning this tribunal case, this basic disability discrimination case. Fact of the matter is, it sets a very good precedent. It's that if a club discriminates against you and you can prove it, then hell, take them to court. Take them to court, because clubs cannot think that they are above the law. They cannot think they are gods. And also, as much as people say players are supposed to be role models, clubs are supposed to be role models as well, because they essentially are professional entities. And a lot of clubs, for example, Millwall, for example, like I could name a bunch of other clubs, Brentford, who do stuff in the community. These clubs are community hubs and community entities, as well as being professional entities. So you should conduct yourself in a professional and community orientated manner. And you should not be doing this kind of thing to people, because then how does that look in the community? Like, imagine I had a disabled child and that child wanted to play football, and the only club near to me was Newcastle. I wouldn't trust them. If they're gonna treat someone who plays in their first team like that, I ain't trusting them with my child. Well, I'm going somewhere else where my child's gonna get treated fairly. Or even if it was me, it'd be one of them ones. I wouldn't want to get treated like that by a club. Bugger that. One of them was, if they're going to treat one of their first teamers like that, how do you think they're going to treat someone who's a reserve? How do you think they're going to treat a youth player with the same potential condition? It's one of them ones. It is just not on. It really is not on. As much as people chastise Aston Villa, look at how well they treated Stilly and Petrov. There's somewhat of a comparison there. Whereas Aston Villa treated him very, very well, and then Newcastle were just like, don't worry about it. Just make sure he doesn't trigger his clause. We want to save the money, because again, this is kind of what it comes down to. Football being an unscrupulous sport because of money. Because automatically renewing someone's contract for another year costs money, and you don't want to do it. And it is just absolutely disgraceful that has happened. And I mean, the Newcastle's unconvincing evidence. Where is it? Doctor's notes in Gutierrez's medical record somehow managed to start the game against Man City. Manager's decision against medical advice. So that's essentially the club doctor trying to bury the manager. It's like, bro, if you're saying he's not fit to play, then say he's not fit to play. Don't try and throw someone else under the bus for what you're saying. Because hey, it's one of them. If I want to crap out of you, I'd pick it out of your teeth. I mean, there's one even Lee Charnley. It's one of them was coming out, would not accept Gutierrez was an established international player, even though he's won 22 caps and played at the 2010 World Cup for Argentina. That just sounds stupid. 71 starts in 76 games in 2011, 2012, and 2012, 2013 only demonstrated someone who plays for the first team and not consistent performance. That's just stupid. As a line, that is just stupid. That is one of the stupidest lines in this whole thing. How can you start 71 games out of 76 in two seasons or over 2 seasons, and that's not consistent, and that's not demonstrating consistent performance? That's just stupid. That doesn't even make sense. That makes as much sense as a chocolate teapot. That makes about as much sense as bloody Sepp Blatter saying, I want to restore the image of FIFA. It's one of them ones. It would make as much sense as that. Makes as much sense as some people, as Jake the Snake Roberts saying he wants to clean up wrestling in 1999. But it's one of them ones. I mean, John Carver had saying, Gutierrez had a certain clause in his contract that if he reached a certain criteria, but said there was no discussion about the clause and denied knowing what the certain criteria might be. I mean, it's one of them ones. If you had no discussion about the clause, then how do you know about it? You've been reading the papers? How do you know about it? Dude, I just think he's lying. He's lying through his teeth. Not supposed to lie on oath, bro. You're not supposed to. But the fact is, it's an absolute disgrace the way Gutierrez was treated. And for him having to deal with testicular cancer, and then your own club are basically making it harder for you to do what you do as a profession. So you've already got the concern of, oh my God, what's going to happen with me and testicular cancer? What's going to happen? Am I going to have a testicle removed? Is the cancer going to spread? Obviously you've got stuff like that flying around your head. You don't want your employer literally making everything harder for you. This is why this is an absolute disgrace, to be perfectly honest. It's one of them ones, man. It's embarrassing to football, to be perfectly frank. This is another instance of something that is just embarrassing to the game of football, and it just makes everyone look bad when you've got clubs doing this. It's bringing the game into disrepute and makes everybody look bad. It really does just make everybody look bad. And I'm glad Jonas Gutierrez won it. I'm really glad. I'm actually really glad. But anyway, it's one of them ones, right? I mean, Ryan Sonley, you wanted to jump in on this point, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought this was actually a good valid point. I mean, Jonas Gutierrez released by. I mean, it was a big shock. Obviously, he wanted to stay at Newcastle, and he was unfairly treated by them. So I mean, I'm gutted for him that he had to leave Newcastle at the end of the season. But I mean, I feel that he was well and wherever he was a good player for them and he did well for them. So I mean, respect for him to being a bit better player and going to a team and proving that he is the better player. Because it reminds me of like the players like Elliot Richards, Roman Lario, who have all had cancer of some sort, and their teams have stuck by them. And Newcastle didn't even do that with Jonas. They like stuck with him for the rest of the season and then release him. Where Elliot Richards stayed with Cheltenham and recovered with Cheltenham, and Roman Larios recovered through Argyle and played the next 3-4 seasons after. So I thought it was disappointing act on Newcastle's behalf.
I mean, it's one of them, as I said, it's just embarrassing. It really is just embarrassing to the game of football. As a football supporter, I feel embarrassed that Newcastle have even done this, to be perfectly fair. I mean, Jaymie Bailey, you wanted to jump in on this as well, didn't you?
Yeah, good evening to all. Just come back from a coaching development session. Funny enough, this is a situation that has come up again in the world of football. If you remember, the Chelsea doctor is still going through with this high court battle with Jose Mourinho and Chelsea.
Yeah,
so,
we've spent a couple of shows going through the situation with Mourinho and Dr. Eva Carneiro. We're still waiting on a proper resolution on that, to be honest.
It's probably not going to change anyway. Well, I still think she should win it. I don't know if she's been given the timing of everything. I think it's at the end of the season or something like that. This just seems it just looks bad on Newcastle, especially with their season going in the direction that it has. If you look at it, all the off-field incidents with Steve McLaren taking over, losing McDermott and making McDermott having to call or text Gutierrez and Stephen Taylor, the two of them, and you're thinking you have to your board is telling you text them or you're fired. Oh wait, hold on, we'll fire you anyway, but text them just to let them know that they're not going to be here next season. That's a big take in the mick.
Yeah, we mentioned that at the back end of last season on PT Live as well. It's a case of it's like, really, those two servants, great servants of your club, and you're basically firing them by text. That is, again, it's just embarrassing.
It's okay, but funny, I see that they've done that and he's won the case. The problem, the thing that I don't see is since, and this is gonna seriously resonate with everybody. Since Bobby Robson died, Newcastle haven't been able to make a complete decision on their own, and they've all had the supporters up in arms. And Bobby Robson died, I think, 2009.
Think about that,
yeah. Rest in peace to him. But since then, that club hasn't been run properly. The only reason why they've stayed up is because Alan Pardew, I would say Alan Pardew pretty much got them in a good position. But past him, what has Newcastle really been run into? Chris Hughton lost his job, and they brought in Alan Pardew. Chris Hughton should never have lost his job. Then you bring in somebody to replace Alan Pardew after giving him a 6 to 8 year contract. What? So you're expecting him to stay? All right, fair enough. He should have stayed, but he didn't. but you gave him a 6 to 8 year contract. So that club has not really been run. And then you put this on top of it. This pretty much says exactly what you said. As much as who would really want to go and watch Newcastle United play when they know half of the players have probably got grievances. Remember the Cisse and the Wonga thing?
Oh God! Yeah, we had a pitch talk. I think there's a pitch talk push point, religion and football, discussing exactly that point on YouTube.com/pitch talk.
But it goes back to where heads. Again, I go back to the point. Bobby Robson was the last person to run the club in the right way. Maybe from where he was on the touchline, or wherever he was within the rest of the time that he was part of the club. But last time that club was run properly was when Bobby Robson was there. Mike Ashley could have made any decision that he wanted to. He would still have to run it by the top guy, which was Bobby Robson. Dennis Wise got involved. Kevin Keegan, Joe Kinnear, Chris Kinnear, all of them were brought in, and that club, even Alan Shearer. You go through the litany of people that were on the sidelines and the people that have come in as coaches and stuff like that, and people that they brought in as players. That club has not been run in the way that it should have been. They're still working on this whole French connection that Alan Pardew brought in. Again, the Dutch connection where Steve McLaren thought he was going to be in, and now he's on the board. Hold on, so who's really running that team? Rafa Benitez or Steve McLaren? Again, this is what I'm saying. It goes back to this idea of who is actually running the club sufficiently enough for the club to actually sustain what their image is, what their finances are, and who is actually going to be on the pitch on Saturdays.
Do you know this reminds me of? It actually kind of reminds me of Pompey when they were changing ownership more than chlamydia changing hands at a teenage party. It was one of them ones when they were just going through owner after owner after. I think they had like 8-9 owners over the space of 2 years, where the revolving door was just absolutely silly. And it's like trying to get anything consistent, anything done. You could see it just wasn't happening, and it's going to crumble.
Well, like as I said to somebody tonight, I absolutely hate the business of football, but I am so much in love with the game that nobody could ever take this away from me. So as much as what is ever happening at my club, at Arsenal, or wherever I go to another club and I see the problems there, you never know, I might even be in Newcastle tomorrow. I won't be, but it could happen. And so all of a sudden, I've got I look at every club that I've been to, and I think there's a backstory to every single situation, and the business plan of most football clubs means you can see the difference between a team like I'll say Ibis Eagles. They've got a plan from probably 10 years ago to now, and it's going to continue for the next 5 years.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you mention that, actually, because we're actually kind of laying down after the merger last season. There's more to come. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, true. And I'm now working. I'm probably going to be working with a team that's doing the same thing with another team as well.
And in terms of funnily enough, in terms of you mentioning long-term plans and looking forward, stick around. International Continental Talking Points is up next. We've got a very interesting way of looking at it from a certain country.
Oh, from a certain country, that pretty much puts it in Europe already.
Funnily enough, it actually doesn't, but we're not going to give anything more away because that's our next segment. But
that's just finishing off the point. I just think, oh no way. Just finishing off the point. I think overall, the way that the club has been run this season pretty much shows what's happening in the High Court with Gutierrez. He won it, and they're probably going to get relegated. Overall, has the club been run properly in the last 5 to 6 years? No. So you pretty much deserve what you got out of the High Court as well. High Court battle, nothing.
It's one of them ones. It's just. For me, the fact is, as you said, it's very interesting that you mentioned about the business of football and disliking the business of football. Because I'm the same way, where it's like, as I've said on numerous occasions, I've said it on PT shows, I've said it outside of PT, I've said it to anyone who will listen. Football clubs are ran like businesses, extremely badly run businesses, but businesses nonetheless. And at the end of the day, if you're running yourself like a business, like I said a few minutes ago, you need to be conducting yourself like a business, like a credible business, like a responsible business, like an ethically responsible business, and a morally upstanding business. That's how clubs need to be running themselves, not some amoral, greedy, power hungry, money hungry entities like, say, your FIFAs or your UEFAs, who are literally just mugging everyone off. Is one of them. The fact of the matter is, you can't run something like that and expect it to be taken serious and to be taken seriously. Yeah, the money you make is all well and good, but you don't have to take the low road to make loads of money. You don't have to. That would be my thing. And especially with football, where there's a lot of youngsters involved, there's the next generations coming up wanting to get involved, trying to get involved. It's one of them ones. What kind of example does that set? To quote Bret Hart from the 10th anniversary of Wrestling with Shadows DVD, you don't have to be a dirty rat to make it. Business will be better, everything will be better. And he was talking about Vince McMahon. Business will be better, everything will be better if he was just a bit of a better guy. And the fact of the matter is, with football, business could be even better if it was just ran in a more fair and transparent way, and everybody could benefit, not just a chosen few. Because it's not as if there's not enough money to go around in football for everyone. If you can afford £5.136 billion, if you can afford to spread that between just 20 teams, then there's clearly no shortage of money in the game. that's all I'm saying. There ain't no, oh, we're struggling this, we're struggling. No, mate, you can afford to spread that money around. But it's one of them ones. I said greed rules the day at the moment. So leave that one aside. But you know what, yeah. It is one of them ones, man, where it's just frustrating. It is just really, really utterly frustrating. It is just one of them. It's just utterly frustrating that clubs actually think they can get away with this kind of discrimination, and that it's not acceptable, whether it be in school, whether it be at a football club, whether it be your local pub. It's not acceptable. It really isn't. So it's got to be dealt with. And I said this case potentially starts a very interesting precedent. But you know what? It is one of them ones where Stoke City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 4 in the Premier League was a final result. Harry Kane scoring on 9 and 71 minutes. Dele Alli scoring on 62 and 82 minutes. So, yeah, it is one of them ones. Leicester City's lead is 5 points again with 4 games to play. So, it is one of them ones. Keeps everyone honest. Honest. But yeah, it is one of them ones where we are just going to jump into a ever so quick break. But yeah, I said we've still got a lot more show left. We've got a lot more show left, including the big story coming. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to give that away. But suffice to say, we will be right back after these short messages. See you in a minute, peeps.
The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinion.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
The G-Man.
Samira Sawney, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. Your Monday night footballing fix, Pitch Talk, is brought to you by and in association with
Talking Pie, a local podcast made by the fans for the fans of Notts County FC, hosted by Adam and Thomas Hewitt.
Simply Exclusive Entertainment. If you need a party or rave film, go to sxemedia.com for more information.
Apparently Rich. Simple yet effective web solutions to help get your company off the ground. Visit apparentlyrich.com for more information. And LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video. If you need a video filmed and or edited, check out ljaproductions.co.uk. LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video, offering video production services such as video editing, video encoding for the web, including YouTube and Vimeo, audio recording, filming of interviews, promos, live events, and much more. Get in touch at www.ljaproductions.co.uk or twitter.com/LJA Productions and let the new blood in digital video promote you. Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
the one-stop shop for all your Motivate Sports and Fitness. Check out motivatesportsandfitness.com for more information.
The new football culture magazine, Thin White Line. Check out thinwhitelinemagazine.com for more information.
Storm FM with new hot releases played daily. Feel the boom at Storm FM.
Two girls with their funny Scotty trying to cover as much women's football as they can. Girls on the Ball. Check out girlsontheball.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Rob Perez.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McGoplin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening
And you're listening to Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
International and continental tournaments.
Yeah, PT Live, aka your Monday Night Footballing Fix, is back. It is back. Jazzy Fizzle, you still there as well?
No, gone home.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Good night. But you know what? Yeah. Here's one of them ones. One of the more interesting things that has come out over the last week. From the 11th of April 2016, China aims to become football superpower by 2050. China has unveiled a strategy to become a world football superpower by 2050, with plans to get 50 million children and adults playing the game by 2020. Other targets include having at least 20,000 football training centers and 70,000 pitches in place by 2020. While China excels at the Olympics and Paralympics, it has only ever qualified for one Football World Cup in 2002. Which was obviously held in Japan and South Korea. President Xi Jinping is a football enthusiast and previously said he wants China to win the World Cup in 15 years. The plan was published by the Chinese Football Association in Chinese last Monday. It sets out short-term, medium, and long-term targets, ensuring there is one football pitch for every 10,000 people by 2030. The men's football team should become one of the best in Asia, while the female football team should be ranked as a world-class team by 2030, the plan said. By 2050, the report added, China should be a first-class football superpower that contributes to the football world. I'm going to come back to that. China's men's team currently sits 81st in the FIFA World Rankings out of 204 nations, below far smaller nations such as Haiti, Panama, and Benin. The Football League has been hit by corruption in recent years, with 33 players and officials banned in 2013 for match fixing, which we went through a couple of years ago. Although efforts have been made to clean up the sport, one objective is to have 50 million of China's 1.357 billion people playing football by 2020, with 20,000 football training centers and 70,000 pitches by the same deadline. As we mentioned, the plan the plan sets the men's team the national team the target of being one of Asia's highest ranked teams by 2013 as well. Now, there's an interesting one there, but also in terms of new frontiers and setting up new initiatives, West Brom launched initiative with Indian Super League side Delhi Dynamos. West Bromwich Albion on the 15th of April 2016 announced that they've joined forces with Delhi Dynamos in a first of its kind partnership between a Premier League club and an Indian Super League side. The clubs will work in collaboration in the UK trade and industry, the New Delhi government and University of Wolverhampton on a grassroots initiative taking football to children at more than 2,000 schools in the wider Delhi region. A select group of students from the university will join West Brom coaches in travelling to India, where they will also help build the technical expertise of local coaches. The initiative feeds into Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision to take football to every village in the country as India gears up towards hosting next year's FIFA Under-17 World Cup. West Brom worked with Delhi last season when the former England youth international Adil Nabi joined the Dynamos, becoming the first Premier League player in history to move directly to the Indian Super League on loan. The ongoing partnership between the two teams also saw them cross-promote one another at their home grounds last season. Delhi promoted the signing of ex-Chelsea winger Florian Malouda, who played in the Indian capital last term, on the digital perimeter boards during last season's Monday Night Football clash with Manchester City and the Hawthorns. Delhi returned the favour, Delhi Dynamos, by promoting the Baggies across their 60,000 capacity arena at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, the primary venue for the 2010 Commonwealth Games. We are delighted to team up once again with West Brom on this groundbreaking initiative, the Delhi Dynamos president Prashant Agarwal said to Sky Sports. At Delhi Dynamos, we've shown a great deal of ambition by bringing some of the household names of world football to the club in the past, such as Roberto Carlos, Alessandro Del Piero, John Onorisa, and Florian Malouda.
But ultimately, we want to develop homegrown talent who can go and become the next household name in world football. To do that, you need to develop football at the grassroots level. A tree cannot grow without strong roots. West Brom sales and marketing director Adrian Wright added, we want to establish a legacy that leaves a lasting impression on Delhi and India. It should be a legacy that extols the values of West Bromwich Albion and, of course, hopefully brings new fans to our attention. But we are also developing our relationship with Delhi Dynamos all the time, and our message is clear. We're there to stay, and we want to help football develop, and through that improve the health and well-being of thousands of youngsters whose lives we can genuinely hope to change for the better. Now, you know what? Jazzy Fizzle, I want to ask you first your views on West Brom setting up an initiative with Indian Super League side Delhi Dynamos, especially the stuff at grassroots level, and China's aims to become a world football superpower by 2050 and their plans also pertaining to grassroots level as well. Your views?
Well, I think, West Brom's deal is fantastic because it's a cross-sports deal. And you know what? It reminds me a lot of what Motivate Sports and Fitness do. Right? Because, yes, it's related to football, but is it just about football? No, it's not. It's also about other sport. And what you may find is that you have a particular person who's talented in one sport who doesn't realize they have talents in another, who then goes on to discover that, and then they have a decision to make if they want to pursue it further on in terms of professional career, etc., etc. So it's only good for the children in the local area, young adults in the local area as well, because it's all about getting active. It's all about having at least 60 minutes of physical activity a day, and I don't see how anyone loses from that deal, especially in the wider community. In the wider community, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So for me, it gets a big thumbs up, and I'm looking forward to seeing other teams have similar associations. Like during the Super Bowl run for the Carolina Panthers, there was a link between them and Leicester City. There's a mutual admiration between those two teams. I don't know if there's going to be anything formal made out of that at any point. But, again, it's all about building connections through sport. And if you can join multiple sports together and get communities active, that's really the whole aim of the game. To get communities active. And as you say, if you happen to come across a future star in the process, bonus. If you're able to go and support both sports or any sport at grassroots level, bonus. So for me, I don't see anybody losing in that deal. Going forward, and on to the China wanting to be a footballing superpower, I think it's a very, very feasible achievement for them. I don't think it's impossible at all. I think they can do it. If you look at what they're doing with the Super League at the moment, in terms of the money being spent and the players they are luring to go and play in the country at the moment, through the money, of course, then I would say to you, is it really that improbable and that implausible? It's not. It's not. If they're able to lure some of the top talents away from Europe to go and play in China, and as I say, this is mostly just to do with the money, then, provided that they also put the money into the infrastructure, which it looks like they want to do, again, I really don't see how that can't be done. I really don't. I think provided that the right people are in charge, then, yeah, can only go from strength to strength, in my opinion. And even though they've done it in reverse, so they've gone and they've had the league go and make all these big splash out signings, what needs to be said is that they have the right kind of ambition in place. They want to go and fortify the league with grassroots support and everything else. So, as I say, provided that the right people are involved and in charge, this could be huge, absolutely huge for sport, and that prediction may well come true. may well come true. And we're going to have a lot of homegrown Chinese stars, if that comes to fruition. And of course, the Super League will be even more attractive for foreign stars as well. So it depends on what kind of regulations they'll put in place. So I think early on you'll have very relaxed rules towards foreign players, but once it gets established and there's a steady influx of homegrown players, shall we say, you'll probably see that the laws will start to balance out. So unless a player is neutralized in terms of nationality, the rule of like maybe 3 foreign players in a squad or 3 foreign players available to play on match days per team, to really league. And, it will only help the league go from strength to strength, in my opinion. So overall, do I think it's doable? Absolutely. Absolutely, I do.
I mean, it's one of them was Jaymie Bailey. You wanted to jump in on these 2 subjects as well, didn't you? About China aiming to become a footballing superpower by 2050, and West Brom launching an initiative with Indian Super League side Delhi Dynamos.
Yeah, well done to West Brom. I've seen some of their work in terms of the community, and they're really pulling it in for the Midlands. Obviously, other teams like Leicester and I think even, I know this sounds a bit weird, but even Forest. So it also kind of becoming in terms of football. The Champions League have already done that. If they get by 20 robots, by all means, do what you have to do. If it happens, then I would suggest that there's going to be a lot of changes made to how business is done again. Or as I said, if I guess we're going to see Beijing pretty much a very robotic match, where even the goal line technology is pretty much calling on the spot to the referee. So, or we're just going to see a whole bunch of Shaolin jumpers, overhead kick on the ball into the back of the net and saying it was off the line.
Are you trying to say that football's going to end up going like that film Shaolin Soccer?
It could.
I remember that film. It was funny.
I don't know. As right now, I'm just thinking that by 2050, the world could change into the point of where even when we're looking at even pitch talk is probably going to be on a big giant screen TV, which we all know is just normal. They'd just be like, oh, okay, well, this is pitch talk, and we'll see you on Monday night, as well as Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It could. That's what all I'm saying is. That's what it could happen. Could get to. And I'd rather. I don't know. I think China are probably a bit like America, light years behind football in general. I mean, they could have. They've only just taken a mantelpiece up in world football only because it's making money. Did they really want to do this 10 years ago? Not really. They just made a league and hope for the best. Then South Korea gets involved. Oh, look, hang on, we need a bit of a competition. Same thing with the Americans. They saw that NFL was the only thing that they had going for them until they saw that the 94 World Cup generated a bit of money. So both countries are light years behind, and by the time they get, we might have Ronaldo playing playing at the age of 16 over in China by that time, and saying, you know what, it's not a charity match. This is actually a league match. So I just can't see it being anything that's worth talking about. I think it's just one of those things of, well done, China. You're way behind. Welcome to football and business. You've got the business side of it done. The football bit, you're probably just going to have to kind of change your policy in terms of how many kids you can actually have in the family, if you want to have a decent powerhouse, as you call it, or a super brand of football.
You know what? Yeah, I think it's one of them ones where this whole thing is going to be actually pretty damn interesting, because taking these in order. China aiming to become a world football superpower by 2050. I actually think it's brilliant, and it's for a number of reasons. I think it's a good thing. Number one, the fact is they've said 2050. They've not come out in like 2013 or 2012 and said yeah, we're gonna win the World Cup we're gonna get to the semi-finals of a World Cup in 6 years and win it and win the whole thing in 10 or 12 at the time. This one of them was like, remember Greg Dyke coming out and saying that with his aims a couple years ago? Dude came out and was like, yeah, we're going to get to the semi-final in 2018 in Russia and win Qatar 2022. But he's never, and the thing that's frustrated me about RFA is the fact that he's never said, no, it's not going to happen. The fact that he's come, in my view anyway, the fact that he's come out and said that, but he's basically not outlined how he's going to do it. Because when he came out and said that, I was like, okay, it's all good having that ambition. And we discussed this on PT Live when the announcement was made. But at the end of the day, how are you going to do it? Because dropping Premier League teams into and reserve teams into the John Stones Paint Trophy, no, that's a terrible idea. Premier League B teams in the Football League, no, terrible idea. Have you even got anything else? So it's one of them ones. These half-baked short-termist ideas are not going to get the job done. I love the fact China are one of them places. China and also India, just based on populations alone, just based on numbers, just based on pure numbers, they've got the numbers. What the plans to get 50 million children and adults playing football by 2020? That's actually very realistic. Like you look at China. Look at China. 1.357 billion people are living in China. Having 50 million of them playing football within the next 4 years, it's actually a pretty good aim, to be perfectly frank. And if half of that is quality players, then they have got a massive talent pool. That is a potentially massive talent pool. Now I see the same thing with West Brom as well. Getting involved with the Delhi Dynamos over the past year or so. The fact of the matter is, yeah, working in collaboration with UK Trade and Industry, the New Delhi government, and the University of Wolverhampton on a grassroots initiative. Taking football to children at more than 2,000 schools in the wider Delhi region. It's brilliant because again, 2,000 aiming at more than 2,000 schools in the wider Delhi region. Imagine there's a 1,000 kids per school there. Again, it's one of them ones where there is a potential massive talent pool there. And if you develop it right, and I was talking to one of the Ibis Eagles Sixers about this, Mr. Michael Phillips. I was actually talking to him over the weekend, and it was like after the Eagles game, and we were like, you know what? One thing that's not done well in this country is talent development, because talent gets fast-tracked way too quickly. They get fast-tracked, they get rushed. So the fact of the matter is, as an initiative, it's brilliant. The partnership between West Brom and Delhi Dynamos is absolutely brilliant. And casting the mind back to a premiere, an ad hoc films premiere a few years ago that myself and the G-Man actually attended. Was it Sleeping Giant, an Indian football story, where QPR tried to, because of Tony Fernandez and others and their links to the Asian region, it was one of them ones where it's like QPR, I think, might have done it a bit half-baked, but the ideas were there, trying to set up roots over in Asia. Now, one thing that actually jumps out to me, which I'm surprised actually no one's mentioned, we've discussed before on Pitch Talk videos, youtube.com/Pitch Talk. We've discussed on PT on the road videos about the lack of Asians, especially British Asians, in football. West Brom's initiative with the Delhi Dynamos and China trying to become a football superpower could turn that completely on its head. Because remember, these are two different parts of Asia, China and India, two different parts of a massive continent. And ironically enough, two of the biggest populations in the world, let alone in Asia. So it is one of them ones. I love the plans. I mean, targets having at least 20,000 football training centers and 70,000 pitches in place by 2020. It's just one of them ones. It's just ensuring there is one football pitch for every 10,000 people by 2030. The fact that they've got short, medium, and long-term targets. The men's football team should become one of the best in Asia, and the female football team should be ranked as a world-class team by 2030. So that's essentially giving 14 years for that plan. And by 2050, China being a first-class football superpower that contributes to the international football world, you look at 2050, that's 34 years away. So one plan is looking 14 years, the other is looking 30 years. And RFA, their idea of long-term is 12 years, if that. So I like the way China have dropped this. I really hope they stick to it, because they've got a massive, massive opportunity. As I said, just based on pure numbers alone, in terms of population, if they can get 50 million of China's 1.357 billion people playing football in 4 years, and at least 10 to 20 million of that can be quality players, they've got a real good opportunity. They've got a real good opportunity for their league to develop. They've just got a genuinely great opportunity there. And same with West Brom and the Delhi Dynamos. There is a great opportunity. And this partnership, I love that partnership. Because at the end of the day, and as Jazzy Fizzle said, it's a case of what motivates sports and fitness do as well. Stuff in the local communities, but it's not just about football, it's about developing the communities. And one of the major phrases that came out from the Delhi Dynamos, where is it? There was one, yeah. Ultimately, we want to develop homegrown talent who can go and become the next household name in world football. To do that, you need to develop football at the grassroots level. A tree cannot grow without strong roots. And I'm glad that West Brom and Delhi Dynamos are realizing this early. They are realizing it early and they're committing to it early. Because one thing to realize something, knowing is half the battle. But going out and changing it and making solutions, I love both of these initiatives. On a personal note, I think are absolutely fantastic. I really do. But these are fantastic. And as I said, China are aiming, becoming. Look at that. They're aiming to become. They're aiming to become a first-class football superpower that contributes to the international football world by 2015. They're not saying we want to win a World Cup. They're saying we want to contribute to the international football world. So they want to become a powerhouse. They're not saying, oh yeah, we just want to win a World Cup and stop in there. Because that's just an end game. It's one of them ones. They're looking a lot further ahead. And bear in mind, 2050, that's another 34 years. So hey, props to China on that. Like that. The Chinese Football Association, totally. If you can keep corruption out of your game and develop it properly, there's a really great opportunity there. Really great opportunity. And with the Chinese Super League kind of making their moves now, makes it even more interesting as well. Because the moves they're making in terms of signing like guys like Ramirez, signing guys like Ramirez, Alex Teixeira, among others, it gets people talking about them, it gets people noticing them. But it looks like they're not just in it for the short term, which originally a lot of people were questioning, are they just in it for the short term? So I like the plans that China have got. I just hope they stick to them and they commit to it. Really hope so. Really, really hope so. Great initiatives. Great initiatives. Really, really do like it. I'm a fan. I am personally a fan. Yeah, definitely a fan. What the hell? You know what? It's one of them. I mean, I said the importance of grassroots football we've mentioned on a number of occasions on PT live shows, videos, and elsewhere. That goes without saying, but you can't grow without strong roots. Like that as a phrase. It's one of them. That's just the way. That's the way it needs to be. That's the way it should be. Is one of them was make sure your roots are strong, then you can build. You can build upon that and make a strong, lasting impression, let alone a strong, long-lasting. So, yeah, one of them was. But you know what? Here's one of them. We are getting into that home straight of the show, so it's about time for us to switch to a segment near and dear to my heart, and also a big shout out to G-Man as well. One of them ones. Let's go into. Grassroots segment. Yes. Yeah. Jumping into the grassroots segment of your Monday Night Football and Fix. Of course, we always start out with a shout out to the 14 Southern Amateur League at 14 SAL on Twitter and www.southernamateurleague.co.uk. Also a big shout out to the Amateur Football Alliance Youth Council, AFA Youth Council. That's facebook.com /AFA Youth Council and at AFA Youth Council on Twitter as well. Remember, their chairman is Mr. Darrell David, who was our last Pitch Talk Meets guest. Pitch Talk Meets Darrell David is on YouTube /Meet playlist. Also, AFA Amateur Football Alliance at Amateur FA and www.fa.com is their website. Yeah, the team we generally focus on first and foremost is the Ibis Eagles. Ibis Eagles AFC, who myself and G-Man play for. At Gmail is where you need to email if you want to play for the club. www.ibiseaglesafc.co.uk is the official website. Video clips. I've filmed quite a lot of stuff, taken quite a lot of pictures over the season. Whenever I get subbed, get the phone out. But yeah, facebook.com /Ibis Eagles AFC is the group, and twitter.com /Ibis Eagles AFC is the Twitter handle at Ibis Eagles A. Well, Saturdays on a Wednesday. Right now, there is actually no training at the moment. It's kind of broken up for the summer, really. So it is one of them ones. But yeah, get in touch with us if you want to play. Couple of little interesting things regarding the Ibis Eagles, as it happens. Yeah, it's one of them ones where a big time congratulations are in order, but we're going to come back to that in a second. The Ibis Eagles 5s actually finished their season, and as the regular listeners will know, I apply my trade with the Ibis Eagles 5s, and but unfortunately I actually couldn't play in their final game of the season due to work commitments. But the Ibis Eagles 5s rounded out their season with a 5-2 win over Carl Shorten 5s on Tuesday, 12th April 2016, Tuesday evening. It was 4-0 at half-time, and goals from Richard Handley, aka Titch. He scored twice. Sasha Javelic scored one, Dave Handley scored one, and Nabil Khan scored one as well. Joe Baller was shown a yellow card. It's kind of funny actually that Dave and Nabil both scored that night. It's a bit of a conspiracy theory going around, but I won't get into that. But it is one of them ones where in the goal scoring charts they are now neck and neck. But it is one of them ones where on Tuesday, as of Tuesday night, it was a case of the 5's end of season stats. 45 players used in 25 games, averaging 7.02 games per player, top in the club, and 12.6 players per game. So very settled as a squad. We ended up actually consolidating third with that result against Carl Shorten 5s. Remember, we had 2 4-all draws with them during the course of the season, one away, one at home. So it's kind of mad. But yeah, in terms of appearances, Paul Dennis, 23 appearances for the 5s, was top of the list. Dan Khan with 22, Charles Lindsley with 21, Sasha Javelic with 21, Nabil Khan with 20. I was the joint 10th in the squad because I got 16 appearances for the 5s this season, 21 in total across the club, because I played once for the Frees. My debut game of the season was with the Frees, and I've also played a couple of times for the 5s, for the 6s as well. Couldn't this past weekend, more on that later. But yeah, these statistics courtesy of JT, aka John Timmins, our resident stato. The Ibis Eagles 5s have scored 80 goals, 3.2 goals per game, 0 own goals for. Nabil at that point on Tuesday was the top scorer with 21 for the 5s, 25 in total for the club, and Dave Handley had at that time 23 in total for the club. Sasha on 10 and Kezron Da Silva on 8. But yeah, shifting onto the weekend, it got very, very interesting because even though the Ibis Eagles reserves, aka the 2s, did not have a game due to a result going our way, and that result was Q Association 3, Old Lionians 2. This weekend, the Ibis Eagles reserves actually won the title. So it's one of those big congratulations to Jack Lloyd and the boys in the 2s who actually won the league by virtue of Q's victory. Funnily enough, what was it? JT and Jack Lloyd actually went down to watch that match. They actually went down to watch that match just to see firsthand what happened. So it was one of them was Jack was a very, very happy man after watching that. Because I think at one point, I think Old Lionians were actually 2-0 up at one point, and then Q fought back to 2-2 and then went 3-2 up. So it's one of them was great stuff, man. Congratulations to the Ibis Eagles 2s. We're a newly merged club. We've already had one side in the club win a league. We could have another. Because if the 6s win both their remaining games this coming Saturday, they'll also win their league. So this is where it gets really, really interesting. So this past weekend, it was the Ibis Eagles 6s 3, Aline Old Boys 7s 0. This was game 1 of a double header. The halftime score was 3-0, and yeah, goals from Dave Handley, Solomon Manny, and Michael Phillips as well. Michael Phillips put in a real shift, quality player. So yeah, but the other game in the doubleheader was Alino Boys 7-0, Ibis Eagles 4. And I actually played in the second one. So game 2 of the doubleheader, it was 2-0 at half time. Dave Handley scored again. Michael Phillips scored again. James Fryer and Sasha scored as well. So what that means for Dave Handley is that he's now level. He's now level with Nabil Khan in the goal scoring charts. If it was based on assists as well, if assists were recorded, he'd be miles ahead because he's comfortably in double figures with assists. But it is one of them ones. It's very, very interesting. And the 2 games are a double header away at Old Salesians this coming Saturday. So what makes that interesting is that basically 2 wins for the Ibis Eagles Sixes guarantees them the league. 2 wins guarantees them the league. And it's just cut and dry as that. There are a lot of other permutations, but 2 wins guarantees the league. So it's gonna be very, very interesting on Saturday. The boys are gonna be really up for it, like they were this past week, actually. And yeah, as I said, I was playing in the second game of the doubleheader. But yeah, man, some real good performances around the pitch actually. And it was just one of them ones where it worked. It just worked. There was one moment right at the end of the second game, actually, the 4-0, where it was like where it was like, oh my, ball over the top. I'd been beaten for pace, and their striker actually said to me after the match, you know what? I did not expect you to bust the gut. I did not expect you to bust the gut and run for it. But when I saw you coming, I knew I had to take the shot. He took it early, fired it wide. So it was kind of like the loss could have sacrificed a clean sheet right at the death. But it worked. But it was one of those ones when it was good. It was a good game, actually. Good game. But one actual funny moment. There was a bit of banter with Dave Handley. Every time he fluffed his lines, it was like, yep, the Bill would have scored that. It was a little bit of a wind up there. But also, at one point in the second game, I think we'd just literally gone 4-0 up, and like there was a pass that I played out from the back to the right hand side. And it was one of them ones. I carried on my run to try and link up the play because there was a bit of a hole in the middle of the pitch at that point, and all I heard everyone from the sidelines at once was like, "Leo, where the are you going?" Literally the loudest shout from the sidelines all day. Where the are you going? And all I could do, I just literally stopped, laughed, and just jogged back, and I was like, "Are you not?" It was a funny one. It was a funny one. One of them ones where at 4-0 up, it's like, oh, okay, cool, I could take it. But nah, it was a lot of fun though. It was a lot of fun. I remember Nick Robinson as well actually saying, "Yeah, but was it myself and Jason, the 2 of the loudest guys he's played alongside." But no, I mean it was one that was hopefully I'll be playing for the Sixers again this weekend. Really I'm hoping. Really I'm hoping to be playing alongside guys like Ben Herberts, and all the other lads as well. Nick Robertson. Hopefully I'll be playing alongside them again in the doubleheader on Saturday, away at Old Salesians down in Epsom. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see the Sixers get over the line and have a brand new merged club and have 2 sides walk away with league trophies. That would be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic, especially fantastic for the Sixers because they've had 4 changes in terms of running the club in this season alone, for one reason or another. So it's one of those ones. It's been very, very interesting. Because you've had Dan Bracken, aka Brax, who started off running the club. Then Dorian Bunker stepped in, Vic John Doe is now running it. As Dorian had to go back to the States, so it's been really interesting. It's been a really, really interesting season around the club. I've enjoyed my time with the Fives, and yeah, hopefully I can help the Sixes out. It's fun. It's all fun. You know, also, big shout out actually to Ivory Toast, at Ivory_Toast on Twitter. And the head coach is Jordan Stringer, coordinator is Phil Brown, Southend manager. Media man is Mike Harniman, and press officer is Russ Vernon. Both of those guys, obviously, Mr. Harniman and Russ Vernon, PT's own. Their website is ivorytoastfootballclub.wordpress.com. And it is a case of where their next kind of fixtures and tournaments and that kind of thing are going to be released soon. So keep your eyes on that. They've got a group on Facebook, Ivory Toast Football Club on Facebook. So it is one of them ones. Russ, Mike, you wanna jump in terms of Ivory Toast and let us know a bit about what's going on before we round out?
I will do, Liam, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, like I said, the new fixtures for next season will be released later on this week. And once I get those from manager Jordan Stringer, I'll post that over in an email to you guys at Pitch Talk. At the weekend, Jordan's team, Brisbane United, being Melbourne LTD 3-1, goals from Hudson Turner, Josh Mellowhite and Christoph Kalinski, sealed a fourth win in 4 games for United under Jordan Stringer. They are top of the table, and in their next game, which will be this coming Saturday, they've got Shorncliffe FC, and they are currently second, joint level on points with Brisbane United, much better goal difference. Their record leads, this is Brisbane United, by the way, 1-4, drawn 0, lost 0, scored 18, conceded 2, plus 16, top of the table. So very well done to Jordan and the team there. Jordan watches that over on Skype, and he sends me the details over via Facebook message. And I must say, it was a fantastic. Well, Jordan told me they played absolutely fantastic, and I've sent Jordan some messages to the Brisbane United players, and he passes that over to the players via the Skype when after he's done the team talk at half time, and then again I pass him on before full time, and which he passes on to them as well. And when it was my birthday tour end of March, the lads at Brisbane United said I've had a fantastic birthday and everything. So big shout outs to you guys and to and to contact me on Facebook. Russ Vernon is my Facebook name, and I'll be able to pass on some more information regarding Ivory Toast. Also on the website, we've got getting to know, so you can get to know some of the involved, the players and the coaching staff as well, and media staff. So if you just go to the website, click on the getting to know section, and you can have a read of that. Phil Brown does articles on the site as well, and also Jordan is starting to do his own articles and his own column on there. So when those go out, I'll pass those over to Liam and the guys at Pitch Talk, so you can all have a read as well.
Good stuff. And Mike Harniman, you also had some. Obviously, you're involved with Ivory Toast too. You had some news to mention about the club as well.
Yeah, it's just kind of what Russ was saying. It kind of just adds on to that. It was basically a little bit about Jordan. He's actually put an article up at the moment on the website ivorytoastfootballclub.wordpress.com, and it's basically how football coaching has brought the best out of him and how it's kind of improved his development as well. So go and give that one a little read when you get a bit of time, guys.
Good stuff. That said, it is one of those where Ivory Toast FC is at Ivory_Toast_ on Twitter. And yeah, head coach is Jordan Stringer, coordinator Phil Brown, media man Mike Harniman, press officer Russ Vernon as well. Remember, that website is ivorytoastfootballclub.wordpress.com. And yeah, it's one of them ones, man. It's interesting at grassroots level. It is very interesting at grassroots level. Also, a big time shout out to hackneywickfc.com as well, at hackneywickfc on Twitter and facebook.com/hackneywickfc. They've also got quite a lot going on as well. Because I know they've got I think a couple of people from their club actually running in the Hackney Half Marathon as well. So it is one of them. Also, big ups to them. They've also coming up too. So that is going to be a really interesting one as well. The Hackney Cup for Health on Saturday, 30th of July, Mabley Green, Lee Conservancy Road. Over 62 teams will have a tournament. So it is one of them ones where they are actually looking at setting up their own tournament. So it's very, very good. I mean, Hackney Cup for Health will help to support Hackney residents' understanding of the importance of physical activity by getting them exercising in a fun tournament. It will also bring all of the borough together for some healthy competition. So the tournament's going to take place at the Mabley Green pitches at Hackney Wick, and will take place over 2 days, a weekend in the summer. So the website to get more information on that, there's going to be 5 categories of entry for the cup. 1 is the 40+ veterans. Number 2 is men's over 16s. Number 3 is women's over 16s. Number 4 is under 16 boys. And number 5 is under 16 girls as well. So for more information about Hackney Cup for Health is spacehive.com/Hackney Cup for Health. So www.spacehive.com/Hackney-Cup-for-Health. We will also put that link on the social networks as well. So yeah. It is one of them ones. So yeah, as I said, Hackney Wick FC doing big things. Definitely doing big things. And it's great. It's great to see. It's great to see clubs in the community. Doing not only big things for themselves, but also big things to help out the community as well. So it is one of them ones. But yeah, it is one of them ones. I said get yourself involved with the Hackney Cup for Health. Get yourselves involved. As said, www.spacehive.com/Hackney-Cup-for-Health. So here's one of them ones. Get yourselves involved. You know what? It is one of them ones where it is time for us to be vacating the place with a haste. And Mike Harniman has just said him and Russ are going to start doing their match interviews soon for the coming season. So if you got any questions, let them know.
I'll be sure to shoot over several questions. So yeah, get ready.
Are you ready? God, I love it. God, I love it. It is one of them ones where it is about that time for us to start vacating the place with a haste.
Hi, I'm John Sutton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls the punches.
Hello, Carambeau.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samir Swanee, co-founder of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting out to the G-Man and Jersey Fizzle, of course. Proud. We'll talk show that pulls no punches. Like nothing. Why? He's doing the pitch is where we talk. Is one that was www.
Yes, I am. Enjoy it.
Damn it. www.pitch-talk.com is website. Now about talk, you can find all the videos, including Pitch Talk Meets, Pitch Talk on the Road, and Pitch Talk in the Cup Final Series. Also, so at Pitch Talk on Twitter, follow us. We're up to us on Instagram. 07535804466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you text in, text so we can give you a big shout out. Also, facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution that we here at Pitch Talk are working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk is where you can find blogs by yours truly, straight shooting, LJ, and many others, including Dave Mear, aka at Mearcy on Twitter as well. It is one of them was also we're on Google Plus as Pitch Talk Live as well. So it is a case of man. Yeah. A lot of ways you can get in touch with us. Oh baby. Also, yeah. Where are we going now? It is a case of you can get in touch with us. Also, our podcasts are on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio as well. Spread the word, give us a little retweet, give us a like, give us a review. It all helps. It all helps your Monday Night Football and Fix get bigger, and more people aware and knowing about what we're contributing to every single Monday night. So it is one of them. Let's get involved. Yeah, one of us. That's it. Big ups to Ivory Toast FC. Big shout outs also to the Southern Amateur League, the 14 SAL. Big shout outs to Motivate Sports and Fitness. Big shout outs to Girls on the Ball and also Finn White Line Magazine as well. At Tweet White Line on Twitter, Facebook.com/Finn White Line Magazine, FinnWhiteLineMagazine.com as well. Big shout outs to Girls on the Ball, girlsontheball.com, Facebook.com/Girls on the Ball, and at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, Women's Football Aficionados. Also, big shout outs to Motivate Sports and Fitness at MotivateSF on Twitter, motivatesportsandfitness.co.uk, and Facebook.com/Motivate Sports and Fitness as well. Had fun tonight. Been serious, but I had fun too. It's one of them ones. I had.
And without dramatic pause, I've been Jazzy Fizzle.
And we would like to say thank you very much, everyone. Good night. Good night.